Yeah.
We have some guests we're trying to get in, and one of them is on a very limited time frame suddenly. So let's do what we can to get them in real quick while she has a minute or 15 to talk to us. How about that?
That sounds like a plan.
All right. Well, I will let you do the introductions while I add everyone here.
Well, Adam, you did such a great job this morning. You want to take it away?
Let me clear my throat then.
Let me clear my throat.
So happily this evening we've got the main organisers of the convention that's coming up next week. Looking forward to that. Gary and Dee Dee, and we've just been joined by them now. Evening, guys.
Oh yeah. Can you see me okay? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Gary. Yes, we can. Welcome back.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, hiya.
Hi, Dee Dee.
Hi, Dee Dee.
Hello, Dee Dee.
Hi, Dee Dee.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
And we know you're pressed for time, so we were trying to hurry up and get you in here, Dee Dee.
That's fine.
We'll cover that, but I think Bob alluded
Exactly. I think Bob was just mentioning it in chat. Right. I'm all pumped up, man. This is exciting.
Yeah, so as Bob's alluded to in the chat, Dee Dee, you've only got limited time and independent of your battery because you're very busy right now. Maybe you want to fill us in a little bit?
I'm sorry, guys. I can't.
I knew that was what we were going to hear. I knew we were going to hear. No, secret.
That's a good answer.
Awesome. That's cool. We've teased it. That's awesome anyway.
Well, maybe we can quote Bob then. FE Core is doing a 25-mile laser test shot right now in the Netherlands. So I'm hoping when he said you couldn't join us because of that it's not us that gave it away. It's out there, mate. So I'm sorry about that. Hence why we were alluding to it. I thought you'd been given a little bit more permission there. So we will leave that though.
Oh dear.
Yeah. As Mike and he said to wait because it's part of a bigger thing.
Awesome.
So I'm sorry.
I
No,
apologise for being
pumped up, man.
Dee Dee and I went to the Balaton test and with about 11 other people. It was great fun.
But it's more hot in here. It's not so cold.
It was freezing there, wasn't it?
Yeah. All right.
Well, if we can't discuss what you're up to, maybe we'll move on to the reason you guys are here.
Let's talk about what's coming up for sure.
Yeah. I think as you're on limited time, Dee Dee, I think probably Gary will want to get to this, and that's probably the level of credit that you deserve in terms of the organisation that's gone off. I'd say Gary will probably have to show us in a bit more, but I think from all of us, certainly from me, who's really looking forward to next week, thank you for the effort you've put in, and looking forward to meeting you. But
Thank you. Likewise. I'm very excited. So to meet everybody, it's going to be a lot of people.
And I just want to mention, Adam, when you say next week, bearing in mind that that's not really been a term that's ever been used within the convention talk, because it's always been next month, 3 months' time, next year. Honestly, to say next week sounds nuts.
Gary, you must be shitting yourself, eh?
No, not at all.
How about you?
He looks just like steady, steadfast, and calm. Look at him. A rock.
Always.
Well,
you are, Gary. Yeah. Well, not a couple days ago, but
we have our ups and downs like a roller coaster where we have some real bad news and people really mucking us around or whatever, and we have some really good news. And lately we've had a lot of ticking the boxes. But the reason why I think I'm pretty calm is because Dee Dee and I have worked so hard to try and fine tune the program that we can't legislate for what other people do. So, for instance, if people turn up and their hotel bookings are all gone to rats, or people are late, or a speaker doesn't turn up, there's nothing we can do about that. But what Dee Dee and I have done, what we've done, is really gone to the nth degree to actually program this out. We programmed the arse out of it. Is probably a way of saying it. So, and because of that, that's why I'm comfortable, because I know what we're actually doing, and I've got to be honest, I'm actually very proud of what we've done.
No, I think it's right. It's like revising for an exam, isn't it? Or doing something, you're not nervous when you have done enough revision and you know everything that they're going to throw at you. It's there's no need to be nervous. And like you say, there's nothing you can do at this point.
I will say, though, there's two parts. One is I've still got a lot to do. He's got a lot to do. We couldn't put on the event tomorrow. And secondly, I am super excited. So from a point of view of what we're doing, dead excited.
Getting a little bit of feedback on your end.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you know anything what's going on, Josh?
I have no clue.
You think NASA are listening in and they don't like it?
That's it.
Or Bilu?
I heard so much Bilu talk today. No more Bilu.
I'm sure. My goodness.
Josh will need no encouragement for a bit of Bilu.
I resisted the urge, but the urge was there.
Can I just mention that when I'm saying that now pretty calm, that doesn't mean that's where I'll be on Friday. I'll be. Dino and both know that we're going to be like super tense, so the nerves will kick in, I'm sure.
If we're talking about next week, maybe time for the first, just a quick plug in terms of ticketing and maybe discussion, just to let people know what availability is left. I know it's going to be a full room anyway, and it's a matter of just really trying to pack that room. But maybe you could just give it.
Yeah, if Dee Dee doesn't mind, I'll just jump in here and just mention this. But then maybe Dee Dee should take over because she's only got limited time and battery. But because I've been close to it tonight, looking at the figures, there were a few people that we forgot to add to the list for Friday. And secondly, I don't know if you got my message that the Friday room, we did mention it the other day, but I think it got lost in translation, is 120, which means the 101 that we've got going gives us 84%. Saturday we've got 180, which is 90%, and the Sunday is 151, which is 75% of 75.5, I think, of the capacity based on the hotel's numbers that we've agreed with them. So we have got more capacity, but we haven't got anything agreed with the hotel for that. So it's the numbers that are comfortable for us to, because we've got some people in a wheelchair, we got a lot of camera people, and people contacting us every day, and it's going to build up for the next week, I think.
Cracking figures, anyway.
I'm pleased. Yeah, I must admit, I'm pleased. Yeah. Not according to Flat Earth Retard, though. According to him, it's going to be a flop. So that's so funny.
Let's see who eats crow on this one.
What are we talking? Good numbers. What numbers are they?
Just gone through them.
I'll give you another stat, Rob, just to probably put it in perspective for any naysayers. It's kind of irrelevant, the size of the room. The room's virtually, I think it's about 2/3 the size of what the American conference was. So being a bit of a geek, I did a bit of thinking on that. And so I looked at the US and UK populations and did a calculation of what percentile attended the conference from the host country. Applied that as a per capita percentage increase from the American conference to the UK. And actually what we can say statistically and scientifically is that the per capita increase in the UK, i.e. the upsurge of people interested in flat Earth, is 333.33%. So,
wow.
However many people are in the rooms, irrelevant. It's quite significant that a little country like ours has yielded as significant a turnout. So
it's an international conference as well, isn't it, Gary? It's not just the UK. You've got some results on how far afield out on the plane this is going, yeah?
Yep. I'll just mention, we'll just remind you guys what I said the other day. We've got, including speakers, we've got Argentina, America, Canada, Belgium, Holland, Iraq, Sweden, Switzerland, Iceland. I think it's Norway, but I may get that wrong. I have to check. Ireland, and obviously all around England, Wales, and Scotland. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good turnout. But anyway, I really need Dee Dee to interject, because the fact she may go soon with her battery. So over to you, Dee Dee.
Fine so far, the battery. So I'll let you know if it turns red. Let me see. I have like 20%, so.
Oh, it's not too bad.
No. Oh, it's full of mosquitoes here. It's very annoying. You're gonna see me flapping a lot.
Sound like you're down here in the south with me.
They put off the lights.
I know everyone teases me about never ever going to one, but even if there's one in Australia, I won't go to it because it's just too far away. It'll probably be either in Sydney or Melbourne, which is either 2,000 or 3,000 kilometres away.
Well, you have to start one there.
That's just not it. Yeah,
Are you near Perth?
Yeah. No, I'm up north. I'm northern Australia on the east coast.
Is that the rough end?
Yeah, some people say that.
I don't know if there is a rough end.
So I'm living in a normal town, but it's just a long way away from anything that they would hold. Yeah, logistically, a nightmare for me to get there.
Perth is probably further for you than Moscow is for us.
Wow. That's mad,
Perth from me. Perth. If I wanted to go to Perth right now, it would take me. It'd have to take me a couple of days to get there, even if I flew. I don't know if I could get there in a day just with changing of flights and stuff.
No.
Yeah, it took us, I think, 5 hours flight from Sydney, I think it was.
Oh, I'd probably get there in a day, but yeah, if I left at, say, 6 o'clock in the morning, I wouldn't be getting there till late afternoon at best, yeah.
So for 5 hours flight from here would be, I mean, that'd be beyond Cyprus. It would be, yeah. Well, it's about 5,000 miles, isn't it? Don't quote me on that, by the way. But anyway, so you wouldn't be going anyway.
That'd be better.
Well, it could be happening next door to my house, and I wouldn't be going because that's just me.
Well, I was going to ask you that, John. You could go incognito, mate. No one knows you. Just go incognito.
No one knows me anyway.
Actually, for all we know, he could actually be one of the core team, and we wouldn't know it.
That's
Just
right.
change his voice.
We wouldn't either, Gary. We wouldn't.
I must go and get my fluffy white cat. Sit here and stroke.
John Murphy. Is it John Murphy?
Yeah, that's me. So, who's got questions for Dee Dee before her battery runs out?
Oh,
Right, okay.
No,
I'm assuming that Dee Dee is the one that posts all the chemtrail photos on Twitter. Is that the same Dee Dee?
No.
Can you say that again?
No, not the same one.
no.
All right, forgive me.
Different Dee Dee.
Adam, are you rearranging your shed again?
no, it's not me. Why do I always get blamed?
Because you haven't got headphones.
Ding, 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 ding. That's why.
Okay, I'm going to shut up
Or
now.
that said, I get blamed because I like to mess around with the audio. So if there's a feedback, it's probably Josh's fault. So no, Adam, did you have a question for Dee Dee?
Yeah, I'll start on my first question really, and that's about it goes to, just looking at the presenters. Is if we look at the website now, is everything confirmed and the likes, and are we all set to, or has there been, you've alluded to there's a bit more on Friday night, so I didn't know if you could elaborate on this. I assume there's no changes in the
program as
settings,
it's... Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The program as it's set on the website right now is so far the program we're sticking with, and none of the speakers has cancelled so far, so we're hoping it's not gonna change over the last week. So let me see.
Have you got plan B for us if someone does call in sick?
I know me and Gary have some stuff we have prepared in case, and I hear Adam, you proposed to bring something as well, and then we have
Adam.
I'm prepared to do my MC Hammer rap. That's about the best I could put in for you guys.
Well, that'd be worth it.
So, Dee Dee, can you still get tickets on the door?
At this point, we haven't sold out, so there will be tickets at the door, but we expect to sell out within the next week, because it looks like we're very close. So
yeah, I imagine you are. And can you give us a rundown on what your attitude is towards the press? I know we spoke to this the other day. What's your policy with regards to mainstream media, press, the media?
Well, me and Gary decided that we're not going to invite press on purpose. So if people contacted us from the press, we were willing to listen to what they had to say. And we said the same to everybody. If you want to come attend the convention, we don't give out press passes. You have to buy a ticket. So a couple of guys did that, and we will introduce them at the beginning of the convention. We will tell a little bit about them, and if people want to talk to them, then they can. But we definitely don't have mainstream press there, and we're not planning to call them. So.
Well, other than Iron Realm Media, you'll have them there with you. But no, I'm just kidding.
Mainstream. Yeah, good one.
Not yet.
I do have an update, actually. Tonight I had about a 20-minute conversation with a guy who's a freelancer who's actually dealing with the BBC. He's doing it for free. But basically, he's connected to the BBC, and he has bought a ticket for this weekend. So next weekend.
I told you, Gary. I did tell you.
You did. You said it 2 days ago. So,
It's John's fault. John
we have got a connection to the BBC. So yeah. So they're as I've said to you the other day, and what we've said to all these people is just be honest. And the way we look at it is we're not going to give them a free ticket to come and slag us off. They got to pay to slag us off. But I've tried to get close to every single one of them to try and build a rapport. Like, for instance, I heard from somebody that Lad Bible are really, really bad, and they're going to take, if you don't mind me quoting what I was told, but take the piss. And I chatted to them today, and I said, "Oh, I've heard this." And I thought I'd just bring it up, even though you do what you got to do. And they said, no, that's how we were a few years ago, but we actually, we got to get away from that model because it was clearly not good. And they're trying to become more professional. So I said, it works for me.
Yeah. We also told the press that everything that they film or take pictures of, they have to send us all the material. So in case they edit stuff and make it out to look weird, and we have all the footage, and I'm hoping we asked them to
they can edit it all they want, can't they? They can edit it all they want, but most of the time when you see these sort of interviews, they're intelligent people. Intelligent people are the ones that are speaking about flat Earth, and they're giving their views. It's just not some hillbilly on the side of the road that they're asking about these views. It's guys that are very, very intellectual that they're speaking. Yeah, do you agree with that?
And yet, who were they interviewing after the US conference? The guy in the car park with the jalopy and the BBC.
For instance, like Dave Murphy, he speaks really, really well, doesn't he? Like the interview from a couple of years ago that he did on the Scottish TV, just very, very easy to listen to, and you listen to. You can listen to them all night. Those sorts of people, and it'd be very, very, very hard to come across as a crackpot when they're speaking like that.
I had a good chat with Dave Murphy on Sun and Moon Group, so I'm looking forward to saying hello to him in person as well a while back. But what can I just keep it, Dee, you're talking about the control you've got inside the event and etc. with the press and that. Is there obviously outside of stuff, outside the convention's a different matter, isn't it? I'm not sure. Has the hotel laid any rules down or anything in terms of? I know we've had a bit of advice in terms of what we can and can't do, and I just didn't know if there's anything else for anyone else that's going that might be helpful instead of some report going, you can't do that.
No, of course, the hotel and the venue, they protect all their visitors. So they don't want the press walking around and talking to everybody. And we want the same for the people attending. We hope everybody's respectful and not just attacking all the people inside because it's going to be a lot of us all together. So with the press, not just on the venue itself, we're not going to have the press outside of the convention. So we hope to have a little bit more control.
And Gary was on about Gary was on about hotel protesting as well, or there was a phrase.
Hotel activism, I called it. I can't have us, when I say us flat earthers, deciding, right, we're going to browbeat all the guests this weekend, because the hotel would just really, really get hacked off of us. And we want to have good relations with them because, one, we want to be professional with integrity, and two, we've got enough on our plate without having complaints. So, and if the guys there don't like it, then go to another convention, because we have to have certain rules, because we're trying to keep the continuity and be fair to everyone, including the guests that have nothing to do with the flat Earth.
Yeah, and we're right in the city center of Birmingham, so if people want to do flat Earth activism, they can go to the pubs outside and then go talk to the people there, as long as it's not in the venue so we get any complaints. We hope everybody is respectful, and we expect it to be that way.
But we're not marching on Birmingham City Hall then with any banners.
I want to mention something about that. Somebody came up with an idea about 6 months ago where they were saying, wouldn't it be good if we all walked up the road with banners? And at first I thought, yeah, okay, that could possibly work. But then what would happen is it would get out very quickly that a convention is happening that the jury's in, then all of a sudden the press would turn up and other people would turn up. The hotel would then be upset. They would then come and see us, and we could be halfway through our Saturday. We thought we were being clever on the Friday daytime, doing something in the city centre, but what it actually does is more harm than good. So it's not a good idea. It really isn't.
The thing that says to me, mate, is and it kind of accentuates the point of why you've put all this effort in, that you've done this for the flat earthers and not done it as a promotion event to stick flat earth in the mainstream. It's for the community to gather, and that's why I'm really looking forward to it, to meet people and the like. So,
but at the same time, Adam, you get a spin-off, don't you? Because, like, for instance, we've got it's not the BBC as such, it's a freelancer who just happens to be connected to the BBC. So I wouldn't say the BBC are involved, but loosely maybe. But we have got like Lab Bible. We've got there's still this German company, but they haven't really come forward, so we don't know what's happening with them. So what's happened is that we do our nucleus. We've obviously got, when I say we, as in the speakers have got a lot of content that's going to be put out. Some of it new, some of it obviously, because you still have to actually discuss some of the old information, because there's going to be some people that have only been in Flat Earth 3 months, so they wouldn't have come across some of it. So what we're going to do is have our nucleus of the Flat Earth, and the spin-offs are, you're going to have the likes of, I mean, at one point Geek Zone was talking to us, and I didn't actually know who they were at the time, in like Bible, but I know Dee Dee's heard of them and dealt with them. But we have, we're doing it for Flat Earthers, of which other parts come into the equation naturally. So I think that's actually not a bad thing. But what I wouldn't mind doing in future, if there was the need and demand, is to try and do something where you'd almost have a room full of globe people and some flat earthers, and obviously we have to make sure we put the police down the middle, but actually have a proper debate, and I think that'd be good fun. but it needs to be managed.
John's always wanted to do that in as a actual proper court trial. I think that was John.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be fantastic. Run by court rules, with evidence and that sort of thing. But you have got something like that going on in the conference, haven't you, Mike? Gary, you've got the physicists, the Globe Earth PhD to be physicists debating the flat earthers. That is something that I would pay to see.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it's something that personally I think it's really exciting. Even though I think that the event, the actual event, with the exception of the Friday it's more like an add-on, but it's a nice add-on. I would say that Saturday could stand on its own, and Sunday could stand on its own separately, because Sunday's got 2 powerful speakers. It's got the workshops and it's got the debate. And on the Saturday, we've got 7 speakers. So if you just talk about the debate side, I just think it's just because it was never going to be a debate. It was never on the cards. It only came about 3 or 4 months ago when I said to Dee Dee that I really would like to do this, but it was all like a pie in the sky thing. It was just an idea. But then all of a sudden, I noticed an opportunity and I grabbed it. And I just think it adds, and it's costing a bit more money to get them there, but it's worth every penny, because the value that we're offering people is, I think, tremendous. I really do.
I do. I think it's a fantastic idea. I'm glad you had it.
Before you're talking value there, so before we go on to the physics questions, which is a personal interest of mine, I'm looking forward to that debate. You're talking about value, and something that surprised me in the week was, you looked at the prices and you surprised me saying there's actually food provided. I don't know. I don't know if you want to do a bit of a sales pitch, but actually just to maybe tell people that actually for that's bloody good value. I'm quite chuffed. I've paid a lot more for less shorter events. You know what I mean? So you just highlight what else is provided.
I'll let Dee Dee answer that, but we can always charge you more if you're really up for it. I mean, we're very generous like that. So.
I'll buy you a pint when I see you. That's your lot.
You're having those coins for 70 quid, aren't you, Adam?
I'm not having none of that. I'm not having none of that, especially live on air.
100 on there, okay.
Get out of here.
Can you see this coin?
Yeah.
Can you see it? This is number 100, Adam. I wonder if you want number 100. There's only 100 in the pack. So, very nice coin.
I'll take a random number.
That's awesome.
I don't know if you can see it, but it's got the logo and it's all layered as well. It's really nice.
Show that again, Gary. You weren't shared.
Okay, am I on the main screen now?
No, wait there. Let me.
Adam, stop sharing your screen.
You got it.
I mean, Dee Dee's probably going to kill me later. Like, what?
Pan over to your left a hair. There you go.
Perfect. That is awesome.
Yeah, that's very nice.
And the other side is every coin is serialized. So anyway, Adam, this is number 100. This is a special one. This is only £5,000 for you. I mean, if I liked you, I would have probably done it for a bit more. But you have to live with just 5,000. I'm sorry. But we got them. We got them.
Yeah, I do like the look of those. I hope this. I don't know about number 100. What number you got, Dee Dee?
I don't know.
I've got the whole lot. I've got every single one from 1 to 100. So,
yeah,
but anyway, Dee Dee.
Australia here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the tickets.
Yeah, for the food and the drinks, I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, we have a great deal because you get workshops, you get debates, you get all the speakers, and not only that, we also have three times that we have coffee and tea included, and we have a lunch buffet during noon. So it's everything is there, and we also set up a mobile bar in the room next to us. So if you don't like tea and coffee, you can always buy something else at the bar.
See, like I said, I'm a good salesman. But for 60 quid, you know, to have those refreshments in the centre of Birmingham, that'd be costing you 15, 20 quid anyway. You know what I mean? So it's an expensive meal if you don't attend the conference, but other than that, I think that's really, really decent of you, because that would have been quite an additional cost for people, because you can't go the through day with it. And
I think it's also fun if we
taking
have
a
lunch
pack lunch.
together. So,
Sorry.
if everybody meets during the day and we all have lunch together, I think it adds something else. So everybody stays with each other, having a chat during the buffet. I think it's great. But my battery is as close as that, so I think I gotta go. If I drop out, you know why.
And that's seeing you, Dee.
Yes, thank you so much
Take
for
care.
joining us.
No, you got a lot going on over there.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll pick you up next week and where we left off.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I'll see you guys next week.
Awesome.
Bye,
Thanks so
Dee.
much, Dee.
See you, Dee.
Bye-bye.
Good luck with the
Yes,
whatever you're
with
doing.
whatever's going on.
Bye bye.
Bye, Dee. Oh, I'm so glad she's gone. She's bloody useless, she is. Oh my god, I have to carry her every day. One thing that hasn't been mentioned, and I don't know if you guys realise this, but it started off life that I originally, when I was on Sun and Moon, I was talking to Karen and bounced ideas with her and Dee and other people. Not Dee, but Dee Searle, Eternal Padawan. It started off that I was debating between having 1 day or 2 days and what it was going to be. And it was basically almost changing every day. I was like spending 3 or 4 hours on it every day, which I was hungry to work on it because it was such an in my inner core to do this. But it soon became 2 days, and then I thought it was going to be sold out very, very quickly because of the type of feedback I was getting. So I thought there was a bit of a clash with certain people that I thought, how do I keep these people apart? But at the same time, I want them there. And what happens if we sold out really quickly? Is there going to be more need? And I was trying to rack my brains on how I could come up with it. And because of the two problems with two people falling out with each other or not really getting on with each other, and if you notice, I'm going to be a little bit cryptic who it is. But because of that, and also me thinking that we're going to have an issue with selling out too quick and there's going to be more demand, there's more demand than we've got available, I then came up with the idea of the Friday. And the Friday then started off, it was just literally speakers and maybe do experiments. And I was talking to, I don't know if you know the guy called Dave Mannell. He came up with an idea of maybe doing like an open mic. And I absolutely loved the idea. And it also had another flavour to the Friday night. And then the Saturday grew from the daytime. And because Dee and I had been trying to number crunch and work out the speakers and whatever, I had the speakers down for 40 minutes each because obviously I was trying to work within the slot from the morning right to about 6 o'clock in the evening. And then it progressed into maybe trying to hire the room for the evening and a couple of pounds each, and we'd have like a comedy night, almost like a Britain's Got Talent, Flat Earth Got Talent type thing with sing-song and comedy. Like Martin Liedtke was going to do some jokes and things, and we were trying to progress that idea. And then basically Dee looked at the whole thing and thought, we got some feedback from some of the speakers that they're saying 40 minutes isn't enough. We need longer. So we've ended up giving them, most of them, an hour. And to answer one of your questions earlier about what do we do if somebody drops out, all the speakers, most of them are clamoring for more time. So basically, if somebody dropped out, we'd be able to give them that. So even though we've got a set program, we have to obviously be appreciative that we have to be flexible. But the journey of what it started off with, the egg that grew into something has developed. I just love the journey. It wouldn't be an exciting journey for other people, but the actual start to the finish has been wonderful. It really has been something to behold for me. I'm not saying that I'd be the same for other people, but to go from 9:30 in the morning to 9:30 at night, and we're still struggling to fit everything in. That's how packed everything is. Even though if somebody did drop out, we can easily fill it.
It'd be interesting to know how many people who have bought tickets to the show aren't already full-on flat earthers. I guess you wouldn't know any of those sort of figures of it. There's absolute newbies going to the show?
I think I'd be surprised, and I would like it to be more than this. I think it'd be about 90% are definitely flat earthers. The ones that are questionable are, there's a few grey areas where some of the people that have come forward, we seem to, like, for want of a better word, smell a rat, that you think there's something about these people that we just want to keep our eye on them. But also we know that most of the people, like the people that come into film, are clearly not. I mean, the person who's actually doing the live streaming is a flat earther, but his colleagues are not, and also that most of the people that come into film or do photography are not. So maybe 10% is probably a bit too high. Maybe it's more like 95% to 5%. But what I would like is, I'd love there to be a group of, say, 10 globe believers that are there, and I would ask them, if they don't mind, I would ask them at the very beginning of the event, okay, give us just a quick cut of sentences about why you think what you do and what you think of us, and then I'll ask them that same question at the end of the event, and that's what I'd like to do.
Once I get my microphone that you told me I've got to get, that might be worth stick them in front of us, mate, and we'll try and interview them and just get their before and after thoughts. That's not a bad chat. They'll go on.
I just think, though, Adam, that it's the journey that they go on. Like, for instance, it's amazing. I've had a few photographers come to me and say, we want to come and do a documentary, separate from each other, but they want to do a documentary, or they want to film it, or they're curious or whatever. And it's ironic that when they are questioning my beliefs, that when I then say, okay, can I just flip it on its head and ask you believe in the globe, why is that? And they know, what is the number one? They say, for instance, your nephew came home from school one day saying, oh, they were talking about the globe today, and there was loads of questions being mentioned in the classroom. Could you help me with my homework? What would be your number one proof? And there was, on 2 occasions at least, with these people that are coming, they both stopped in their tracks, and you could hear the cogs turning, and they said, oh, okay, I haven't really thought about this before. Oh, good point. And I could just tell that they were flummoxed, because they are just literally they're just indoctrinated to the point where we were all before Flat Earth, but they just literally are just so used to believing what they've been told that it's not until I questioned it with them, not mildly, that up to that, even though they knew that we believe in Flat Earth, they didn't register why do they believe in the globe. And I think that's quite bizarre, really.
Well, we're on that subject of these guys then, and you've mentioned Friday. I've got Saturdays, half of Saturdays. Hang on, I just wonder if you know roughly what the guys are going to talk about in terms of the name presenters. If you could maybe just give a quick rundown. If you're starting with Iru, is he starting early because that's good for his jet lag? Is that right?
Are you talking about Iru for the Friday or Iru for the Saturday?
Saturday.
Okay. What happened originally? When I was trying to number crunch and work out what everything was going to cost, and I then realised that PayPal were going to charge, and the live streamers were more, and I couldn't allow everything, so I was banking on numbers really. But yes, with Iru, because it used to be Mark Sargent and John the Morgile, and they've been replaced by Iru and Martin Kenney because of different circumstances that have happened, which I can go into if you wish, or we've not, whatever suits you. But with Iru, because coming from Argentina, I thought there's no way in a million years can he turn up on a Friday morning, and yes, okay, he could probably be involved in the evening or not. But what happens if he's actually going to do the Saturday and he's absolutely shattered? So I had to then invest, because it does cost money to pick people up in a hotel every night is another cost. I thought it'd be best if he came in on the Thursday. So that's hence why Dee and I are going on the Thursday as well, because we didn't want him to be there. As it happens, he's actually coming with his mother, and the ironic thing is he's actually landing on Tuesday, and they're going to go and do some sightseeing. So he'll be wide-eyed and bushy-tailed by the time he gets to Friday night. So, but to answer your question about what is their content, I know that Dee has put out a request, because basically, like I said to you the other day, that we got different roles. So you may ask me a question. I was like, oh, I think it's this, but Dee Dee's the one managing that. And like, for instance, I've been negotiating all figures with the hotel and with the live stream people and whatever. So that's my strength. Not that Dee Dee couldn't do it, but we obviously share the workload. But we have asked these speakers to give us an idea of what their presentations are, partly down to make sure there's not much in the way of clash, but there could be, and I don't mind that, and I'll explain why in a sec. But we're more to do with the fact of what the data that they want on screen, so we can make sure it runs well on the laptop, because we've got a 4:3 ratio on the projector screen. So we just want to make sure it runs more than worried about the content, because all of them we trust implicitly. So we haven't got to worry about what are they going to say. We've had one or two people that want to speak, but we don't know who they are, and sorry, no, the answer's no. You'd have to really get to know me, and I've got to get to know you for that to happen. But yeah, it's. But for Iru, it was giving him a chance, and also he's staying over to the Monday as well, and Mike Cavanaugh is staying over as well, because I had to think about when it finishes at 5 o'clock in the evening on a Sunday, are they able to get to wherever they got to get home? Is it practical? And what I've had to do is with them, I've had to pay for Iru to have 4 nights accommodation, and Mike's got 3. So when I've had to try and number crunch, you try to anticipate what it's going to be at the very beginning of the event, but by the time you get halfway through and you think, hold on a minute, this isn't going to quite work. We've got to think of the individual. Hence why the food has been involved as well, because if you go down to the bar and try and order 200 lots of food, the hotel are going to say, sorry, we can't do it. So that is why I built the food into the ticket price, which obviously put the price up. Because I've tried to, Dee Dee and I have tried, to begin with, obviously I was there on my own for the first 3 or 4 months, and then I invited Dee Dee to be a co-event director. But we've tried to think of everything, of which we will not ever think of everything, but we've tried to do that.
Cool. We better stop there, because something mad's gone off in the chat, and either Josh or Walt better sort that out.
Okay. Anything to do with the convention or something else?
No. We've got super chat payments, mate. There's all sorts of.
Renee has busted the cherry on the super chat. The first was 2, and then again for 5. Defenders of the global society can only regurgitate hypothetical astronomical assumptions. We need to accelerate Operation Mass Globortions, says Renee for $5. And who's that? Raven P for a shout out. Yeah, and Nkululeko is there in chat too. Hello, Duma. But yeah, big thank you to Renee. That's awesome.
Josh, we need a thingy, you know, like when we've got a new subscriber. We've got.
Well, no, we don't.
See, we did. I've got that. I disabled it just for that purpose, because it could be. I'm not even sure. I couldn't find the baby laughing for the new subscribers, so until I can figure out where exactly I hid that one, I think I should have everything else disabled, because I have no way of controlling the audio for it, so it just kind of comes in at the most inopportune times. And besides, I think it would drive John a little crazy.
Anyway, Gary, I'm staggered by the amount of effort you and Dee Dee put in on this. Hell of a risk for you as well. It's not. This is not some cash cow by the sounds of it, and I don't envy your position. But I, for one, would just like to say thanks in advance, because from what I can hear, this is going to be a good event, a really good event, and the start of some really good stuff to come. So. Well done to you guys. Kudos. And
it's been a lot more work than I envisaged, must admit, and it's hurt my business with the amount of effort I've got to put in to keep on top of it. And without Dee Dee helping as well, I would have been stuffed. I really would.
I think flat Earth hurts everything, doesn't it?
Sorry, John. I was good. For the nosier of us, would you mind if I said what you've stumped up, mate? Do you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people out there that I've seen just accuse you of profiteering, which, looking at what you are charging, what you're providing, seems improbable. to me, from a just looking at it as an assessment, it seems to me you've taken on a lot of risk more than anything. I like to say that seems quite a generous effort towards the community, and for me, would upset me if I'd done that and then seen a lot of the shit and abuse or prejudice or assumption, whatever you want to call it. Do you know what I mean? That's out there, and I just wondered if you wanted to maybe quantify.
Okay, I wouldn't have brought it up because you don't seem to win friends and influence people if you're starting talking about the truth when it's not what they want to hear. They want to hear the opposite, that I'm making a killing, and that they want to then rip me to pieces for it. Whereas if you do it the other way around, that's not news, is it? That's not one that they want to hear. At this moment, I have to do it in two ways. I have to talk about what I have paid out, as in actually out of my bank account, and then also what my liabilities are between now and next weekend, and then counteract that with the income that will hopefully reduce some of that liability. So I actually paid out. I can give you details of how much to each thing, or I can just give you overall figures. But it's about I've paid out 3,800 of my own pocket, out of my own pocket, and I have liabilities of about 3.5 to go. So all in all, it'd be about 7.2. Which is really hurting, but we've had some money in over the last few days that obviously is going to reduce some of that. We've obviously got these coins. The person supplied them from Hong Kong, he's in Australia, but he's actually sold via Hong Kong. That he supplied them at a cost. We're going to make a couple of pounds on each one, because we're selling it on his behalf. So if he was there, we wouldn't charge anything, because obviously we're not involved, and he wants to make a donation. Because that's the other thing about the vendors. We're not saying you've got to pay £100 for a table, or you've got to give us 10%. We're just saying, if you make a profit and we are not broken even, if you want to make a donation, that'd be lovely. But if you don't, you don't. And we can't legislate we're not going to demand or say you've got to do this. So at this moment, including what I've paid out and what I got to pay out, I need 7,500. And the worst it will be is I will get in 2.5, which means I'll be 5,000 down. But I think realistically, it could be 3,000 down. The question mark is, one, do we sell all the merchandise? Because not all the merchandise is ours. Some of it is other people's, which we can't foresee what's going to happen with that if they want to do anything. So we only got our own merchandise plus these coins that we're obviously going to make a little bit. And it's not making; it's actually trying to pay the deficit. It's not making money that I can go out and down a pub the next weekend and buy myself a meal off the back of it. It's to try and get close to breaking even. And the best that it probably will be is I'll probably lose about 2,000. And the reason why it's a vague number is because it all depends on how many live streams we sell. I assume that we're going to sell out on merchandise because, one, it's good price, and two, it's to help towards the cost of the event. So I'd like to think that people would support that. But again, if they want to, we can't. You can only hope, really. So to answer your question, it could be anything as bad as $5,000. It hopefully will only be as bad as 2, and everything in between. But if I had to choose today, what it'd be, I reckon I'll probably lose about 3. Which is a lot more than I envisaged when I first started.
I was just going to ask that. What sort of killing did you think you were going to make?
I never aimed to make a profit. What it was going to be is my goal was always to break even. And if we would have got to the point that, say, for instance, it was obvious that we were going to make £1,000, then one of 2 things would have happened. Well, one of 3 things, actually. Is one, if you come across some people who say, I'd love to go to the convention, but we can't really afford it, then what I would have said to Deed is, I'd say, why don't we have 3 or 4 tickets each, where we can be generous, not taking the mick out of the people that have paid, but we can say, do you know what, you're a special case, you really deserve this ticket, we'd love you to come, or we're going to help you with a discounted price or whatever. So that's one thing we'd have done. The next thing I would have liked to have done is a goodie bag, like, for instance, with the coins and a few other bits and pieces. We could say, and we go and spend, say, £300 on the convention goodie bag, a physical bag, and then you can put some goodies in there, like a pen and a cigarette lighter and a coin, which may have come to about for instance, £10 a bag, that you're saying, this is from us. And the third one is because we may go and get another convention at a later date, and since then prices are just ridiculous, or we have to do it in London for a certain reason, the price of that is more higher than obviously what would happen in Birmingham. That would cost them more per head than what it would cost in Birmingham. Then that money would have gone towards the actual future convention. So my goal, like for instance, I spent £750 on the website to get it started. So without me putting in £750, it wouldn't have started. I spent about £400 going to Holland to research about the convention, and also to go to Birmingham with Dee. She flew over out of our own pocket. So between us, we probably spent £1,500 just on the website, or I did the website, and also going to Birmingham. And the other day, I had to find $5,100 for the final payment to the hotel. And we only had I can't remember the exact figure, but it's about 3,000. But I think in the end, I had to take out my own physical bank account, 2,700. So you add that onto the 1,100 that I already paid out. That makes it 3,800.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gary. I hope to hell you break even at least, and make it all worth a while for the hours and effort both you and Dee Dee have put in. I suspect you may not, but it's the first event, and I mean it's going to be leading on to
£5,000.
5,000. It's going up, isn't it?
No, it's 5,000. No, it's 5,000, because if you bought that for 5,000, I'll break even easily. So thank you. Can I just say now, Adam? Thank you. It's here. It's waiting for you. Do you know what? I'll even walk it to your house. There you go, for £5,000.
I'll swap it for some toothpaste.
Well, I think what's going to be what's left as a taste in your mouth is that you were the originator of the first UK convention, Flat Earth Convention, and a legacy beyond that. And I think that's a great achievement. And yeah, I wish you all the luck in the world. I hope this goes really well for you.
Thank you very much. And I must admit, I just want to mention to you guys that since we've connected through Adam the other day, you guys have been really supportive, and I really do. And Dee Dee's the same. We really do appreciate it. So thank you. And you've also been very easy to talk to, and you've asked some interesting questions, and you've asked for the right reasons. You haven't just gone and asked a question to set us up for the attack, which obviously some people have done. But you've looked after us. So thank you very much.
You guys are doing great work, man, and I'm so glad you've let us be part of it. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
And I'm just wishing I could be across the pond with you and hang out, and one day we'll make it to the second one, maybe.
But I'll tell you what, because I would feel embarrassed if we charged you less than Adam for the coin. How about if you come over and we'll take £5,000? That's that.
Nice.
I mean, the only thing is, it will get to the point that we'd have to have the presidential suite, or we'd have to have gold-lined caviar or something, because we'd have all this surplus of cash that we'd have. What do we do with this? Maybe we would have a goodie bag for everyone. So, but no, I'd love to meet you at some point, Walt, and maybe one day.
I can see one day in 10 years' time where the proceeds are so humongous that you can literally Rockefeller-style start a university course on flat Earth and the reality that you live in, and maybe launch a missile or two at whatever's above us. That'd be awesome.
Can I just say this? Can I just mention about the missile thing? I'm sorry. Well, you finish off, but then I want to come back about the missile, because I need to tell you something that I thought was funny.
I was just going to compare you to Elon. In the oodles of money you're going to make, and the amazing truth you're going to spread.
But two things. One is, if I found that the convention costs, I mean, this particular convention is going to cost about 21,000 or whatever it is going to be, 22,000. So that's just to give some numbers what it's going to be. But if it worked out that, say, for instance, the next event was going to cost 25,000 because we need to do something slightly differently, but the amount of numbers it was reaching was double the amount, then Dee Dee and I have already not agreed, but we've kind of already brainstormed about that. If we were to go to an event, for instance, we have workshops in the morning, and it's only an idea, we're not saying this is it, but workshops in the morning, it'd be great if we could have a flat earthers stroke globers having a debate that are not necessarily scientific. They're just people are straight, but I don't know how you'd get these people. That's something we'd have to think about. But then actually have a physicist debate. But because we'll be a bit more known by people, one, all the attacks I've had because apparently I'm a scammer, they would obviously hopefully go out the window because people say, well, yeah, because I know Gary, and I'm not doing any of this to be well known. I'm doing it to try and, for one of the other words, build a brand, but not a brand as in marketing brand. It's just to do with integrity. Okay, if he's going to do that, we know that's at least sound because he's proved it with what he's done before. And then we try and see if we can get people that are PhD. Maybe these guys are coming. Don't get them. Get their lecturers. Get the people that have taught them. And then and then work on eventually getting to the likes of Brian Cox and Neil deGrasse, get him over, Bill Nye, you name it, just get them all over, because if the money's there to do it, to fund it, so it's not, even though I know you're doing it tongue in cheek, this would never be about making money. I would like to break even. I mean, obviously that would have to be my goal. I'd be silly not to, but what we'd end up doing if we did a day event, then what would happen is people from America wouldn't come because it's only a day maybe, unless they're coming for the weekend or seeing family. But what it'd do, it'd make it more affordable for the people in the UK. And then if you do that, then you could move the same model to Holland, and you can move the model to Germany, and so on and so on. So I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but that's what my thinking is today.
No, I think it's good ideas. I think.
But the weekend event that we're doing is going to be incredible. But I think it may only have a one-off wow. But after that, it wouldn't be. I wouldn't want to, for instance, do like Robbie's doing it every year, put on a 2-day event. I'm not saying it's not the case, but I just think it may not be the right thing to do for us.
Yeah, whatever works. I mean, the way I see it is that people like Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse and that sort of thing have become so rapidly irrelevant that you could probably slip them a tenner to stick their head in stocks, and we could throw rotten tomatoes at them for a giggle. Yeah,
yeah, it's funny. But when you mentioned about rockets, I actually got attacked about 4 months ago. And ironically, and this is a bit scary, really. Over the last 2 months, I've not really been attacked, or not knowingly. I've not been aware of it, apart from a retard the other day. But this guy was saying to me, you should scrap the convention and you should put the money into buying, I think it's £50 a person, or get people to get 1,000 people to put in £50 each to go up in space. I thought,
well,
so I'm building
a carpet bag I can see in your background there.
Yeah, but I'm trying to build a convention, but that wasn't good enough. It's almost like I'm Rolls Royce. I'm going to build this really prestigious car. But the people are saying, no, we want the potholes finished first. We want them built, and we want the bridges built over the motorways. Well, hold a minute, I'm building cars. So whatever you give them, they're going to say to you, you should have done something else. It's like, for God's sake.
Yep, they will. And you should expect it. I'm surprised you haven't got more hate. For what you're doing is quite cutting. And it's going to hurt the ball industry quite badly. Yeah. So expect it, be prepared for it. It's going to come. And don't ever, ever talk to the BBC. It's just my opinion, of course.
I must admit, if you asked me 10 years ago, I would have said that the BBC are world-renowned for their integrity and Panorama and Horizon. It's brilliant. Little did I know. I mean, how naive is that, really? I mean, now it's just a scam, isn't it, really? I mean, look at Jimmy Savile. I mean, what they allowed to go on and what they allow to go on now, and it's just disgusting.
Look at the statue outside of their headquarters in, where is it, Whitechapel or something in London. It's a pedophile statue, for crying out loud. It's I would have said the same. I was paying the license 10 years ago. 9 years ago is a different story, but it's a hideous organisation and it needs just abolishing, basically. Same as the United Nations, same as the World Health Organization. All these massive organizations just need taken down.
Companies,
yeah.
It's interesting, actually.
Agriculture.
But we mentioned earlier about allegedly Dave, and I think he's an awesome guy, and I agree with you guys. How brilliant he is. And I can't wait. I've met him before, but I can't wait to see him again. And I think he's got some really good stuff. And he's respected by so many people around. I mean, every time you talk to anyone, apart from the odd person says, oh yeah, is he going to be drinking his piss or whatever, which I think is disgusting because that's his belief and that's what he wants to do, and he's an awesome guy, as you know. But he actually put a post on the other day, and he was talking about the past, that it's got worse. And I think, well, I don't know if it has got worse. I think it's always been there. But what it is, we are now, because of the internet, we are aware of this. Because if you think about it, if they control the press and they control the news and everything that goes with it, how would you ever hear of any of this in the past? It would be very unlikely. You'd only hear rumours. Whereas now, you can see splattered all over the internet. And then the mainstream can't control, even though mainstream control the internet, they can't control all the content all the time. They close you down. But I just think it's a...
the problem with that, like, Gary, is that we can't verify what we see. So although it may be true, it may also be false. So like the white hats and things like this, you could be fed a complete and utter lie, and your blood boils, and you take it on board, and suddenly you're an activist, all the rest of it. It's exactly like you say. It's like your neighborhood. That's about as much as you know as to what is literally going on. But beyond that is, like you say, a rumor. And unfortunately, the internet is still a rumor, as we can't verify it. So it's hard to form an opinion.
But that's why the convention is tangible, isn't it? Because even though the convention is just one spoke of many, if people turn up that weekend, and basically what we've said today and what we said in the past is basically what people see, then they know that actually has integrity at that moment. It doesn't mean that the future what we do, but you'd like to think that you build up a trust because you've proved yourself. But yeah, you're right. I mean, like, for instance, I was once on a Patricia Steers show, and I was saying to her about all these things that happened with NASA, with the ISS, and which I like to call them the PISS, because they do take the piss at the end of the day. Everything they give you, but it's so bad that you'd have thought they'd have had 100 editors to making sure that what they put out, but are they deliberately giving us this shit? So it slowly gets to the point that you can show your friend says, oh yeah, good point. Oh, you better talk to me about this flat earth thing then, because I see your point about the ISS. So it's slowly going to feed out. So is it where we've been set up? Are we been set up about flat earth? I don't know. It's like a question I have.
I've raised this before many times. I've been a firm believer that that NASA is doing this deliberately. Its role in future is it's not going to exist anymore. It's going to be found out, or it's going to morph into something else. It's going to turn from the space agency that you see on CNN to the deep space agency that you don't see, that we don't talk about, something along those lines. But like you say, I mean, their fabricating of our reality is so utterly obvious now to anyone but a diehard baller that it has to be taken into account that this is planned. And I've said all along that I think Flat Earth was released at a certain time, but that and is a psyop, but it's the psyop of all psyops because it's true, and this is provable. So it's released, but it's true. So why is it being released? And I think that is the question we need to look into. And I think it stems from chaos. I think it stems from chaos, and as we all know, out of chaos comes order. And I've always said you can't have a one world government without independently taking down every government in every country around the world. If there was one government that was legitimate, had integrity, and still stood, then you couldn't have a one world government. You can't have a one world banking system without taking out the entire banking system as being a farce. You can't have a one world judiciary or a one world police force without first ridiculing and bringing down the existing judiciary, the existing police force, and everything else. So altogether, it's chaos in its highest form, because it's taking out everything. I mean, you find out the world is flat and stationary, you know that your judiciary is bullshit, your police are bullshit, your government, your parliament, your councillors, everything is up for debate. So yeah.
Well, even universities, isn't it? All the academic training, all the sciences, everything would be called into question. And I just want to mention this one. I don't obviously want to hog the conversation on this, but the whole system will break down. But the only way that I think they would get away with this is if they got found out. One, it's like, what would have to happen for them to be found out? Because even if you get 100,000 new people joining Flat Earth tomorrow, so what? What strength have we got when we're sporadic and we're attacking each other? So that's not good. But the issue is for NASA, what they would end up having to say is that they had to protect us from another thing, whatever that thing is. Maybe other lands on the other side of the Antarctica or outside. Yeah.
Well, is that you, Walt?
Yeah, I was saying fake aliens is probably one of the things they're going to turn loose on us.
But that's the only way I think NASA would be able to say, look, we've had to lie to you because we had no choice. And if they didn't do that, then the public would obviously be up in arms about everything. Every single rule that we've been told is, we're going to say, well, we don't want to follow your rules because you've been pulled to be bullshitters. So I think if it ever did get to that point where it became critical, they would have to come up with some narrative of why they had to do it.
Yep, I agree. But I essentially think that eventually NASA will be put in the archives of Walt Disney, and they will go on to, that was our fake space program because we had to, we were told to, yada yada, or whatever excuse. But this is our real one, and it costs $100 billion a day. So you're going to have to fork out for that. It's just, yeah.
But the thing is, though, John, the thing is about money is that they can just produce more money, but they don't want to produce more money because they want to control us, and it's slavery. And everything is to do with, like, the money is a scam, but it's to do with slavery, and slavery is to do with control. So everything is control. We are controlled. Even us, even though we think we're awake, we're still being controlled every day. When you pay your rates, like you say about TV license, I'm like you, I don't pay my TV license. But I try to cheat the system, but I want to cheat the system, but not to make a fortune, but just cheat the system because I just want to cheat the system. You don't mind me swearing, just fuck off, really. So I want to beat the system because the system stinks. And I've been probably like this even before as a flat earther, so this is probably inbuilt for me. So I think it's, I'm just very curious about how do we actually get to the point that, let's say we treble our numbers overnight, or we treble over the next year. So what momentum will we build if we're all separate? So we need to do something radical at some point, but what that is, I don't know.
I think we're doing it. I think we're doing it. I think what you're doing is doing it. I think it's a case of death by a billion paper cuts. I don't think it's 100,000 a day. I don't think it's small amounts. I think people are waking up in their droves.
Yeah, I think it's starting to do that, spreading like wildfire almost. And as far as the meetups and the conventions, that's got to be key. I mean, this whole, like you said, the interwebs that we're all entangled in is just part of their control system. We're using our best to use it as a tool against them, but I mean, we have to do this face to face. We have to take it to each other and to the streets, and I don't mean marching. I just mean we have to make it real. We have to make it.
Well, if we can work out why they decided to release this now and push this now, then you may stand a chance at counteracting where this is going. So it deserves some analysis, that's for sure. But I firmly believe that it was prompted to come out now.
John, I'd allude it a little bit to I don't think it was forced out. I think it crept out naturally, and like the way you see with the paedophile elite systems, it's a matter of sacrificing what they have to sacrifice to maintain control. So whatever release we're getting is them trying to manipulate the situation. A little bit like wine. If you use the same analogy again, you get all the low grade criminals, paedophiles, do you know what I mean, being committed. You get the odd decent sacrifice, and I think that alludes back to some of the NASA stuff. You're getting these things alluding to, oh, it's a fake space program because it has to be. Do you know what I mean? And we're seeing these sacrificial lambs, like you saw with Savile and so on. And I would suggest NASA is becoming one solely because it's a great sacrificial lamb because it's so bleeding expensive.
Yeah, I agree. And I think they were reluctant. Well, the flat Earth would have been the final push over the cliff of everything is fake, everything is a lie. You know, as we've already listed, the pharmaceutical, judiciary, everything. I think they're probably there since 1969 or whatever, saying, you know, what have we got to do to wake these people up? You know, they for some reason it seems they want us to raise our consciousness and wake up to what's going on around them, because I think at that point life will be so shit that we will all run arms wide open to government agencies or world agencies at that point, like the United Nations, which I also think will be sacrificed along with NASA and the World Health Organization and other major charities and things like that. I think all of these are going to be remorphed, like the League of Nations turned into the United Nations. It's going to just be remorphed, repackaged, resold to us, and it will be undercover one world government, basically, which is pretty much what we're under at the moment, whether we like it or not, or admit it or not. You know, the United Nations is governing us.
Jack Dunphy in chat makes a pretty fitting analogy. He says he's often thought that NASA was a patsy. He says if that's the case, does that make Flat Earth the Jack Ruby? I thought that was pretty good.
Who's Jack Ruby?
He's the guy that
Ruby's the guy that killed.
Yeah.
Oswald, right there on television.
Oswald.
Yeah.
Aha. Now it makes sense. Gotcha.
Well, with that, why don't we take a little break? I would sincerely love to go hit the head and freshen up my now cold coffee.
I need some coffee. I've got Gravity ready.
Do you? I do as well. Maybe it'd be better if you played it.
You reckon?
I'm off for a cup of density myself. See you later.
John. Before we go, when we get back, I am desperate to just run through these physics questions.
Did you get my email?
Yeah, I've got it ready, and the highlighted ones you've done. So, if you're cool for staying, mate.
Yeah.
Before we
how long is this break? Because obviously I'm meant to be, well, not meant to be, but if I wasn't on this, I'd be connected to the thing that Didi's doing. But obviously, this is more important to do with us here and now with the convention. So obviously, my time is for you.
Make a quick coffee. 3 minutes 50, maybe another minute or so afterwards. I've got.
And 10 minutes after that.
No. 5 minutes. 5 minutes quick coffee break and quick gravity break, and then go into that if that's all right, mate.
You call it a gravity break?
Yeah. Break
like
gravity.
Yeah. Okay. Just tell me what you want me to do.
Hey, Adam. Actually, it's going to be better if I play it because you won't have headphones. So when you play it, you're going to be competing with your own sound, and it's going to make the sound kind of cut in and out.
I can mute the mic.
Yeah, but then I don't think any sound comes out from your end because it's muted.
Then let me escape.
I got it. Give me a sec.
So what are you going to show? You're going to show some of the Patricia Steer stuff or something else?
We have a little theme song that we've sort of picked up over the years. I can say at this point.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a artist named Cheyenne. She was just a really young woman when she put this song out. It's got nothing to do with Flat Earth when she made it, but once we heard it, it applied so well, we just sort of picked it up and took it as our own.
Oh wow! Okay. Out of interest, have you got so many viewers for this tonight, or have you got anyone in the chat that's commenting? Are they? Is it good feedback or not?
So far, there's not been a whole lot of feedback about what we've been talking about. Chat's kind of off in their own little world. They're just sort of saying hello and catching up with each other in there. It was sort of the same way this morning as well when we were talking about it. I'm hoping all of the feedback comes through via ticket sales. So that's where my fingers are crossed.
But it's really lovely though that you not only want to talk to us, but you're interested in what we're doing, but you also are supportive, because you could just say, "Doesn't affect me," but you recognise that we're all trying to do the right thing. And like, I don't know if you know William Gangst, but he's part of FE Core as well, and he's aware, because certain people are aware that obviously it's a big financial risk, and he just said, "What can he do to help?" And he's saying that we're all on the same path, trying to fight together. So he wants to support that, like you guys are. So we really are appreciative. So thank you.
Well, thank you. It is a huge financial risk, I'm sure, and not one that I certainly don't take it lightly. Anybody willing to put up that sort of capital up front just to make sure that we can get this word out there and allow a nice way to actually socialize and converse live and in person and just do it the way it needs to be done. So thank you. Yeah, all this. You deserve support. You don't deserve any of this criticism.
One thing I haven't done is I haven't cut back on the quality, because I thought, if I do that, that's going to cost me more money. Apart from having more speakers come from America, which obviously I had to abandon if it was ever an option, I've tried to do everything. Like, for instance, the Physicists, I've got to give them a ticket each, which is the equivalent of the ticket each, and also travelling costs. So it's costing money to do it, but I think it adds more value to the event than it does cost. It's costing me. So I'm trying to do everything for the right reasons, basically.
Well, while we're talking about right reasons, as Iron Realm would like to offer all the people that come to the convention a little gift as well. You were talking about goodie bags earlier.
That is amazing, though, that you want to do that, and I think it's such a lovely thing that you want to do that I'm just blown away by it, really.
Hold on, let him build up to what he wants to do first.
Is it the coin at £5,000?
Well, that was it, wasn't it? Yeah, bagger.
But honestly, at 5,000, it's yours. I'd probably even let it go for 4,800, actually.
Ooh, see?
Little discount. You could probably even knock me down to 4.5 if you really try.
I'm gonna see where I can get you to Saturday night, Gary, late in the evening, and we'll take that one from there. But Jamie, we'd like to offer all the people that attend. We've got a lot of and a passion, certainly mine has been non-fluoridation toothpaste, particularly in children. I think it's crucial. So we'd like to donate at least one pack to every person that attends over the weekend of a fluoride-free toothpaste. I've got some particularly nice ones.
I think that's amazing. And one thing I would like to do is if you, unless you object, I would like to obviously recognise that to everyone, that what you've done, because I think it needs to be mentioned, because that's really, really generous.
And obviously, all we'd ask is, if you're already fluoride-free, please pass it on to a friend. It makes a difference, and if you can pass the message on, it'd be appreciated.
No, honestly, I think that's amazing. So I think that's very generous. I hope it's not costing you too much to do that, but thank you.
I know a bloke down the market. It's all right.
Okay. 25 grand.
But Really? This magical £5,000 keeps popping up tonight.
It's magical. All right, well, let's take a little break. I think that'd be best. It's so typical of me to talk about. Yeah, we got Gravity coming up. This has been the Flat Earth Friday Frenchcast right here on the Iron Realm Media. It's 4:20, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for joining us right here on YouTube. Find us over on Twitter at Iron Realm Media. You can find us on Facebook at Flat and Free on the Iron Realm, or just search Iron Realm Media. You know what? Just go to Google and search it. You'll be able to find us, no problem. That's everything. So far, it's been a great discussion with Gary and Dee Dee with the Flat Earth Conference in the UK. Really looking forward to that. You better grab your tickets while you can. Don't risk it. Don't wait to try to get them at the door. Get them now. That's everything I got. We're going to take a little break, and we look forward to seeing everybody back here on the other side. Walter, you want to play him out with some Gravity? That would be really awesome.
Or not.
Or not. We that's cool. No, you know what? I do have it. I hope he hasn't frozen up. All right. I can actually do this. Look at me go. Assuming now it's actually going to work. And I'm not going to be all buffered up. All right, let's try this then, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to take a little Gravity break. I could have really crossfaded that really smooth had that worked the way we had planned. That's all right. It works out well. All right. We'll see everybody back here on the other side. Thank you so much for sticking around.
We're up pretty high. Our heads are almost in the clouds, and their feet are chained to the ground with their chains of misery. They've got a hold of me. They won't let go of me. Let go of me.
Well, I guess it wasn't too bad. It did do a bit of buffering, which, makes me want to pull my hair out if I had any. But I guess all in all, it wasn't that bad.
Sounded a bit jerky.
Yeah, well, I guess that's me.
Where were we then? I've got a big mug of coffee. I'm ready to go.
We were talking questions. We have physicists questions for the Flat Earth Conference UK.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Flat Earth
And I'd like to hear what Gary's answers or what his opinions are of those. Or maybe we shouldn't do that before the conference. That they might be listening. Don't know.
I've got them up here. There we go. So, can you see that, guys? That's sharing, Josh.
Yep, we got it. Well, you might want to move that little Skype window out of the way.
Okay.
Have we got Gary with us?
I'm here, but I'm just bringing up the questions myself. Just bring up the questions.
Who wrote the questions?
It was a bit of a. That's the thing is, you see, that we had different people inputting from the speakers, and it was like, because we had to try and get them to the physicists, it was like difficult to. If you had everyone around the table to actually discuss, it'd be a lot easier. But when you're trying to do it remotely and people don't come back for a week and whatever, it was trying to balance them out, and it was a little bit put together by me, somebody else put in a little bit, and Dee put in a little bit, and obviously it was just a little bit of a concoction, really. So
that's usually the way it works out, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a hard. Believe it or not, there's a lot of things that we've done like this that it's a very simple thing that when you see the result, you think, oh, that could have been better, or that should have been a bit higher, that question or whatever. But you got to bear in mind that sometimes you're dealing with 5 questions, of which you eventually get to this, but the other 4 took up time, and it's just trying to, because this is only one thing of many. It's not just the only thing we're doing.
Plus, also you've had to send these out to the physicists in advance. Is that right?
I have, and
so you can't change them.
We can go back to them and actually say, I'm just bringing them up now. What we've got to do is, I'm going to be the mediator, which means I'm not going to have my flat Earth head on when I'm actually mediating with them and the flat Earthers. But what I have to do is make sure it's done not only with integrity, because that's my, what I believe in, but if it doesn't have that, it's gonna make the whole thing a mockery. Because if we end up getting a result where they walk away with their tails between their legs, and then they come back immediately and say, "But we were set up." Then what's the point? What's the point of that? It's no.
That's what I mean. To be honest, you wouldn't want to change the questions now because you've put them out. That's the challenge. It's a case of integrity that you keep the questions original, so you don't sideswipe them on the day, sort of thing. We want to give them all the room they need to wiggle.
Yeah. And also, what I've done is, when I was going through it, what was meant to happen is Dee and I were going to go through them. But as you imagine, we have lives outside of Flat Earth Convention, and we have, even Flat Earth takes up time. Like, for instance, when we went to Balaton, we were there for 6 days, so that takes up a lot of time. So I had all these questions, and I thought, how do I do this? I'm on my own. I can't even brainstorm with somebody to actually say, oh, that's a good question. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it hasn't been written very well. Maybe we should do something else. So in the end, I had to try and pick. And what I tried to do is, pardon me, I had to try and balance it between, that's almost like a very short line, a very short question. That would be quite good. Because you've got to bear in mind, if I give them some really, really deep questions with 3 weeks to go, they could come back and say, great, thanks very much, but you haven't given us enough time to study these. So I had to try and weigh up exactly what I was going to offer. And I was trying to be practical and balance up time, not go mad, and even sometimes a simple question, because sometimes, they always say the simplest answer is sometimes the best answer. Sometimes a simple question can sometimes be the one thing that really trips somebody up. So I try to balance it with what I do.
If you've been you've obviously had to cut stuff out. And if you listen, I listen to Nathan's debate a lot, and the thing that's tripping the ballers up is the basics. It's the fundamental proofs that are missing them there. And what you've done is, obviously that list was huge, but what you seem to have done is highlighted, in reality, the fundamental questions that we've all asked ourselves that have got us here today. So for me, I think it doesn't need this complicated detail that you're going to send to a doctorate candidate in terms of trying to trip them up within their own system. That seems a purposeful thing. I think it comes back to what you said earlier when you were discussing with people. It's actually just addressing the fundamentals. And to me, that's what's going to be interesting, because it's those fundamental. You can build all the math you like after stuff, you know what I mean? But if the fundamentals aren't there and provable, then in reality, the maths after it is not irrelevant, but really unfounded.
But that's where my question came from, Adam, was sort of first question to the physicist is what formula do you use to calculate the curvature of the Earth? And see what they say.
We've got a cracker for that, haven't we?
We've got several, but they've never thought of this question, and they don't know the answer. And if they do, then I'd like to hear it, because once you understand how much this enormous fictitious ball drops away from you, even at 25,000 miles circumference, you can then go out and say, well, hell, why can I see that lighthouse from 20 miles away? How come I can see that boat? It's nearly docked. And, that's where it goes from.
Can I add and mention something on that, John? The way I look at it, and you basically started to mention it, is that if you had, if you're between your town and the town next door and it's 100 foot, the distance is, it would actually be 100 foot, but then people think, well, actually, it only looks like about 2 or 3, then they would have to have that 100 foot proof, as in the ratio of the Earth would have to have dropped 100 foot by then to start on its way to dropping. But it's only dropped by 2 or 3 feet because of a small slope, and then you do the same in the opposite direction, and then you take them into a different town, you do it again. You'd have to almost lead them by the hand. But if you just said to them, that should have dropped 100 feet, they're not really listening to you. I spoke to a guy yesterday who's also an American citizen, but he's UK, and as soon as I started to try and talk to him and try and debate with him, he would literally just glaze over immediately. So when, I think it might have been Walt said earlier about we are making a difference, we are seeing people waking up, but I must admit, I'm seeing a lot of people that are not only asleep, but they want to stay there. And they're ignorant, and they don't even want to look at the... I mean, for example, I once heard this story, and I love this story because it fits so many times, that you say to people, if I had a runway and I built a wall across the runway that was a foot thick, and the wall was high as a house, and so it's a width, foot thick, and high as a house, but I'm going to drive at it with my car at 100 miles an hour, and your 2 children are going to be in the car, and as soon as I get out, I'm going to come over to you, give them £1,000 for each child. What would you be thinking? And they'd be saying, wow, well, I don't want you doing that with my children, because that's dangerous and they're going to die. But I said, yeah, okay, that's fine. I get that. But I drive through the wall and it's polystyrene. And I'm now saying to you that the children loved it. They're thinking, oh, this is easy money and this is great fun. And I'm saying to you, do you want to get in the car and do you want us to rebuild the wall, and you come and do it as well, but you're going to get £1,000? 1 or 2 people have said no even then, and you think, I've told you it's polystyrene. But go on. Sorry?
No, I was listening, mate. I was listening.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, so what the point is that what happens is that I say to them, it's a wall, it's a foot thick, and it's as high as a house, and it's the width of the runway. They fill in the blanks that it's a brick wall. But I haven't said it's brick. I just said it's a wall. But when they then see that it's a polystyrene wall and the car goes through it quite happily without being damaged, and the children are loving it, and it's easy money, they see the colour of the money, then they think, well, yeah, okay, I'll have a go. And they go, and all of a sudden they're getting a whole family going. Whereas 10 minutes earlier, they were basically, for one of the better words, shitting themselves that you're going to kill their children. Because what happened from the beginning to the end is they didn't have all the facts, but they made assumptions on what the wall was made of. And I didn't say it was brick. So that is what happens with a lot of the indoctrination, is people glaze over, and all they come back with is why? Why would they hide it?
Yeah, I think you're right. That's probably one of the most bizarre analogies I've ever come across. But yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's the online versus the offline people. I mean, if I went out in my street and I spoke to everyone in my street and about flat Earth, they'd be like, "No, don't be bloody ridiculous." But this is the beauty about online, is that they gravitate and they come find you, and it could be one person from every village even that is a flat earther, but it's without a doubt growing. And yeah, I can understand in real life, if you go out and talk to the postman and say, "Did you know the Earth is flat?" They just be like, "Yeah, okay. I'm going to go and tell all your neighbours now that you think the Earth is flat."
Yeah. I've had that. I've had something similar to that. One thing that's going to happen, though, John, is Adam can report this back. I've done two things that, as far as I know, and it's nothing special, but the two things I've done that I'm going to present have never been done knowingly in Flat Earth. So I quite like the uniqueness of that, but I will be interested to see what sort of feedback they get, because I've asked certain questions of certain people that have not been asked. It's not the questions so much, it's what I've done with the questions that's actually different. And I've also done an experiment that is something that I don't think, it may be they haven't done it because it's not worth doing. It may be.
Sounds intriguing, and I look forward to that. Yeah, excellent.
We're going to get a scoop.
Oh, John, sorry, Adam, have I mentioned to you about the coin? It's number 100. Have I mentioned to you the price?
I've heard it's going for a right song.
Whack it on eBay, Gary. Bung it on eBay. And leave it on like an 11-day auction or something, and just leave it over the whole time of the conference. And then you can mention it in the conference that if you want to bid on it, go for it. Do it.
Yeah, but the only thing is, though, how can I do that when Adam's already agreed subconsciously that he was going to pay £5,000? Yeah. It's actually probably easier, Adam, if you just give us your card and you give us your PIN number. That's probably it cuts out the middleman, doesn't it, really?
You can add it to the overdraft.
You're going to get slaughtered for this. You know that.
I'm more than happy. I've got a very, as you'll probably realise, I've got a very thick skin, and I need to have a thick skin to put up with all this. So. But no, getting back to that runway thing, all it is a story. It's a silly story, but what it does, it's a case in point between people are making an assumption. Like the other one is, would you jump out of an airplane without a parachute? And they say, well, of course not. And say, yeah, but the runway, the plane's on the runway. Oh, I didn't know that. Yes, I would now, because they know more facts. And that's why I always say to people is, if they ask me a question, I say, based on what I know. Like, I can go up to a stranger and I can say something to them, and I say, okay, they've asked me a question based on what I know. And they say, how can you say that? You don't know. And I said, I did kind of cover it by saying, based on what I know, which at this time is what I've heard, what I've smelled, what I've seen, or what I know about that particular subject matter. And what I find is a lot of people don't listen.
Yeah. I know exactly where you're coming from. I sort of formulate tweets in that way, is so I'm writing them so that it shouldn't be misconstrued, but 9 out of 10 times it is misconstrued. You've got some crazy man in the sky who's going to save you. It's just assumptions just kill everything, and everyone makes assumptions. And the key art of being a researcher is to try and keep those assumptions to the minimum. So what's the moon? I've no idea.
Definitely. With me, I feel if people, and I have said this to several people, and with the guy who came from Esquire magazine, I said the same thing to him, that if you gave me 2 doors and you said, if you go through door 1, you're absolutely in the Flat Earth camp, 100%. But if you do go through that door and you're wrong, you and your family will perish. And the other door is, there's an element of doubt, and you believe there could be space, you believe in whatever. I said, if it was just literally, the question was, is the Earth a globe? I would happily walk through that door. If it was, is the world flat? I would be a little bit more reluctant to walk through that door, because I believe it's flat, as in I can't see what else it could be, but it could be convex, it could be concave, it could be flat, it could be this, it could be that. But one thing it isn't a globe. And that's one thing.
That's the correct scientific response, isn't it? We've always said the same thing, mate. You know what I mean? And as it's alluding in debates now, you know, it's science doesn't prove anything. It disproves stuff, and we're all happy with its disproof of curvature. We've got actual. It's not that we haven't got evidence of curvature. We've got disproofs of curvature now, and that's thanks to the community out there actually going out and doing stuff. Whether that's fully scientific proof, it certainly lends, in my head, as scientific evidence, because in most cases it's photographic.
But it also comes back to the neighborhood syndrome as well, is that, you know, I can do my gyroscope experiment and show that it's not moving, but I can only show that it's not moving in my immediate neighborhood. I haven't, you know, flown to all areas of the plane to prove that. So again, it comes back to your immediate environment. I know that I'm not spinning, and I know that I'm not on a face of a ball, but I can't tell you that what the shape of the world is.
I definitely don't. I definitely don't know. I can't support the round or the square or Pac-Man or whatever. I just really can't. I can't even say to you guaranteed that there is space or there is no space. What I will say to you is what we've been given is a load of rubbish, but it doesn't mean there isn't space, because we just haven't been shown it. But it doesn't mean there isn't space. You know what I mean? I'm just
That's why I like Martin Kenney's stuff.
Exactly.
Well, I like the fact that I can document the passage of the sun around me in 360 degrees at 52 degrees north. You know, on summer solstice, I can see the glow of the sun going 360 degrees around me. So I like that fact, and that for me is a proof of the circuit of the sun is in some sort of form a circular motion. I haven't seen the opposite or a debunk from the south or the north or anything along those lines. So there are certain things that I can, you know, it's like the moonlight moon shade experiment. They say, you know, the sun is reflecting off the moon, and that's what lights it up. Well, I mean, most people can perform a simple experiment and test the temperature of the moonlight compared to the moon shade, and the moon shade is a damn sight warmer than direct moonlight. So how is that possible, and how is that a reflection? So I can say certain things with a degree of integrity that I can test it and prove it and repeat it and show you, like the gyroscopes as well, that, you know, it's like, for me, it rules out the Pac-Man sort of morphing and teleportation of suns and that sort of thing. I can see the thing going around me 360. That's a big deal for me.
But for me, John, it's like, you know, earlier when we was looking at it, I'll maybe show it, but it's about information, and science is best guess based on the information you got, but science is supposed to continue to ask questions to gather more information, and that's the thing that's missing in modern science. It stopped re-questioning itself. It's become arrogant in its assumptions, and it's prepared to just progress in theory.
Well, some guy did it 2,500 years ago, so what the hell are you doing it again today? You know, what's the point of that?
Aristophanes. I mean, what a joke. What an absolute joke.
I mean, the whole thing is riddled. It's just a fallacy. I mean, if it's true, do it again. I want to see the ballers do it again.
But there's lens to it, doesn't it? And proper scientific investigation and proper proof, proper testing of hypotheses. And I've got here, I'll just do it quickly just to show, because me and John were looking at this earlier, because this is to do with these Japanese polished balls that you make from aluminium foil. And I was just looking for my kids on it, and I noticed this airdrop, and he's got a big gold leaf here that's held up with a ball bearing and a magnet here, and the same on this side. This is just in air and not in air. And if you just watch it, it does, at first glance, if you just only accept the first set of facts and your presumptions and their, or other people's statements, you think it kind of proves it. I'll just... do it again. You can see, look, the ball bearing in the vacuum drops.
Stick it on slow-mo, Adam, and just keep replaying it. Oh, that little cog thing in the bottom right. Speed low.
That's super slow now.
Well, that seems...
might be what you need, yeah. Just keep looking at it. But what do you make of this experiment, Adam? Because I wasn't particularly enamoured by it.
No, neither do I. And like I say, the point is, if you look at that, you think it confirms it until, like I said, a little later on, you can see we had a little look. Where was it, John? At the dangly. Here. If you look here, you assume because the foil and the ball bearing and the vacuum go down at the same time, well, it must prove it. But actually, for me, it's about isolating variables. And what you can see here, look, is before it's released, well, there's a connection between these two, the ball bearing and the gold foil. Now, this time, the ball bearing's not pressurized upwards and holding the gold foil in place. The gold foil, look, you can see it's got its own attraction to the foil. So, for me, the extra bit of information negates the supposed proof that we just had. And it becomes a little bit more similar to the Brian Cox vacuum chamber one. You look here, look.
How difficult would it be to have Brian Cox vacuum chamber and Brian Cox sat in a 1969 spacesuit and just take the air out of it? It'd be great.
Didn't they do something like that, though?
No, well, they did, yeah, but it got to a certain point nowhere near a vacuum.
And they had to stop it, didn't they?
Well, their saliva started bubbling and they were, boiling alive. But I would love to see, let's see Cox put his money where his mouth is, get inside Buzz's suit, sit inside that giant vacuum chamber and evacuate it. I'd pay to see that.
This is just like gold foil. I think it's a zinc copper alloy or something that he's got here, but it's still quite thin. And this is quite a small chamber. And what he's about to do now is just equalize the pressure. And as you can see, you've only got standard atmosphere and this very small vacuum. But if you watch what it does to this foil, it's quite cool. Geeky cool, but still cool.
Is this the foil that NASA claimed the LEM and that were made out of?
Oh, this is foil. This is gold foil.
Is it gold foil or is it gold leaf? Like you might find in cinnamon schnapps.
There's a lot of gold leaf is put in there. But the first bit was gold leaf. I think that's just part of the aluminium foil, unless he has wasted his gold leaf. But the point really is the way you can see the sheer violence of what's going on in terms of the power that's involved in just the small vacuum that's created there. God knows what the infinite vacuum of space the power that would have.
And let alone opening the limb to toss out your spacesuit when you're done with the moonwalk, so.
And how do they get the limb there?
Indeed.
It's a little bit too big. The whole thing's a farce. It almost makes you wonder if they actually deliberately put in something that's ridiculous. And because we keep buying, all of us, some of us are buying, like the Tesla car. What a joke.
Right. Anyway, there you go. But to me, you know what I mean? It's any theory is evolving, and it's based on the information we've got, not sticking.
I think with physicists though, they're just gonna go by theory, aren't they? They're not gonna be able to offer much more than that.
Oh, that'll be the extent of it.
It's going to be interesting to see where they do go, what they do concede. I think is going to be the more interesting part for me.
What's good for me is that because we got Mike, Cavanaugh, Darren, Leslie, Dave, and Iru. Between them, they've got a lot of knowledge, and if one's a little bit weak on something, I think another one's going to be very. Mike is very strong, and I think Iru is very strong, and I don't think Leslie, Dave, and Darren are slouches. So I think they're quite an incredible team, and I know the likes of Martin Liedtke would like to jump in if he gets a chance, but I need to, again, being fair, I need to make sure that the physicists are happy that halfway through, if Martin's chomping at the bit to come in, that I can introduce him, because if they say no, because they feel it's three of them plus we got four, then I have to respect that.
I've got a question then for you. I mean, I promised to be on best behaviour, but I can't. Yeah, but
he's just about to say, but he can't promise. That's what he was just about to say.
I can't promise nothing. I'm honest, if nothing else. But what security measures have you got in place for Anthony Riley?
What do you mean?
Stun gun at the very least.
I reckon tasers.
Right, at least a stun gun.
What, to stop him or to help him?
No, you're not going to stop him asking questions, aren't you? I think the point being there, I think there is going to be a lot of excitement in the audience, or certainly if there's an opportunity to participate. Like
there is. There is a chance, because we got about half an hour set aside for the audience to ask questions, or should I say Anthony? But he's not actually there on this. It's not actually there, as far as I know. He's not there on the Sunday.
Oh, that's a shame, but no, genuinely it was. Is there an opportunity for us to chip in? Is it keep your mouth shut till the end, guys?
If we can, I'm not trying to say. If we can, yes, I would like that. But what we do want to do, we want to make sure that the meeting is civilised and it's got structure. But we are going to be giving people the opportunity to ask a question. So the way I look at it is, because this is a first of its kind, this isn't something I'm an expert in. We have to try and I hate saying the words, but I have to follow a certain narrative to keep some order, really. Because we've got to be fair to both sides. Because if it's not, if credibility goes out the window, then that'd be a shame. And whatever I do, I'm sure somebody's going to come back and say I've done it wrong. And that's the same for the whole event. You know, somebody's always going to say they could have done it better, or I should have done this, or I should have done that.
They will. Don't worry.
Oh no, I'm banking on it.
Yeah. So. Ignore it.
Yeah.
Would a respectful hands up, sir, be the sort of thing you're looking for?
Say again, sorry?
Would a respectful sticking your hand up like I was in class? I think that, to me, I mean, I get your point. You don't want it to descend into some kind of Jerry Springer audience participated. Do you know what I mean? Well, like you said, let's see how it goes. I think that's the best.
Yeah, I think the issue is one person asked a question, and that could, and I'm not saying would, but it could incite another couple of questions, and all of a sudden one question that was only innocent becomes almost like we've lost direction. And then what will happen is it may be that what's been discussed is actually so powerful that I wouldn't want to stop it, but we've also gone off track that for every single person that loves the questioning and wants it to develop, there'll be another person saying, what a farce.
So are you gonna kind of wing it then as a moderator and just take it as it comes, or are you gonna, if it slows down, move on to the next question, or what you?
Yeah. I have to do that. We can't say we're going to discuss this question for 12 minutes because if it's got 10 minutes worth of life, why am I going to hang it out for another 2 minutes? But if another question needs 15 minutes and it's obvious that it should have a little bit more life because it's obviously got some legs, then I'm going to allow that to carry on a little bit longer. So I have to go by the mood of the team. And when I say the team, I'm about the collective team of Flat versus Globe. So I can't say it is going to be 10 minutes and that's it, because I'm going to catch a cold on one question and I'm going to be regretting it on another. So I'm not prepared to do that. But what I do have to do is have an element of discipline with what I do. But you know how it is. You know yourself that sometimes a question could be asked right at the last knock-ins when you should be moving on to the next question. But you think, wow, that's such a good question. And the trick, it's like a salesman knowing when to say no to a customer, or when to say, do you know what? I think we can come up with an idea, but instead of you getting a discount, how about if I offer you this? Because what they're offering is only half the price of what the discount would have been.
Do you mean you're going to have to think for yourself, Gary, and sort of adjust and yeah?
Are you talking about criticism?
That's radical, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah. Cool, you can't do that, alpha boy.
Yeah, but no, it's going to be like I said. I'm sure I'm either going to get a pat on the back or I'm going to be told, "Oh, that didn't really go very well, did it?" I can't. In a way, there's going to be certain elements that I can't win because every person that's happy, another person's going to be unhappy, and they're just going to have to suck it up. And if they don't like it, put on their own convention.
Bravo. Encore.
That answered my question, Gary. Really, there. I was going to say that there's probably going to be a plethora of videos saying you should have said this. Why didn't you ask this question? Why didn't you ask this then? Do you know what I mean? And also and this lends to the next question. Really, is how are you going to stay neutral? Is what's your plan? Because I would imagine from the ball side, you're going to get a shed load more criticism. And what have you prepared for trying to be neutral?
I feel, and how it goes, I can't predict because my crystal ball was sold on eBay yesterday morning, so I've got to go by gut feeling. I would have to say that one thing that I have to do is there's going to be a moment in time where if I had to, if you like, defend the Globe against, say, Mike Cavanaugh, who's my friend, then I will, because I have to be. It's not that I have to be seen to be doing it. I want to do it anyway. So I'd rather be criticised by some flat earthers because of what I did, but I know in my heart I've done the right thing, as opposed to I went with the collective. Because do you know what? The collective, most of them are lemmings, the sheep, they just want to jump off the edge of a cliff. I don't want to do that. I want to be different. Like, if you think about it, how different is it that I'm the only person in the country, the only person in the world is putting on a flat earth convention in the UK? Doesn't make me special. I'm not special. I'm not clever. A lot of people like Chris Monk-Sully, he's the clever people, and a lot of the speakers are the clever people. I'm not, but I had the balls to actually say, do you know what? I'm going to put on a convention because we need one. One thing I will do is I will just do everything with my heart, and I'll do everything with my gut, and I'll do my best to protect everyone. And today I was talking to the guy who's going to come, that's representing the BBC. That is not quite the right way of saying it, because he isn't representing the BBC. He's actually a freelancer who's got the support of the BBC from a point of view of, yeah, we'll show it. If you produce it, we'll make it. He's going to be in a wheelchair, and I said, if you need my help, or if you need somebody on the team to come and give you a hand to get into the hotel, or you need to get equipment up, let me know, I'll help you. And I would do that for anyone. If he was a glober, which he is, I will help in the same way as if he was a flat earther, because it's the right thing to do.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds like me on the line on a Saturday morning.
Beautiful game.
The foot of the line for the boys. All you can do is your best, man. And I think that'll probably, by the sounds of it, that'll show through. I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you. And I'm going to have a mantra there the whole weekend is, this coin is for Adam. He is going to pay me a shitload of money for it. That's my mantra. That is going to be my theme from start to finish. And just in case... You need more than a whip round for £5,000. Yeah. But no, the one thing that... the thing that people are going to find is that I've got a very... I try to be accommodating, I try to be flexible, but I've also got a very strict regime that I'm going to be trying to apply because I have to. I will have some silliness and some humour in there. There'll be other moments when I'm going to be deadly serious and I'm going to be saying, no, that's wrong, we can't do that, this isn't the right place. So I'm going to be a bit of everything, really. And hopefully, if you think about it, you've only got to be right. You could argue that you've only got to be right 51% of the time. But you try to do that with swimming across a lake. You've only got to be 99.9% and you'll drown in that last bit. So sometimes being 51% right is good enough. Sometimes you need to not only, you have to be more than 99.9, because if it's across a lake, you will a flat lake, of course, you will die. So I will have moments where I have to think on my feet, and I will tell you this now, I'll probably have 20 moments of which my goal is to get 11 of them right, because I can't get them all right, and I hope that I get more right than wrong. But I will make mistakes, and I will go down an avenue on something that I think, shit, that didn't go very well. But you know what? I'm human. I've never done a convention in my life. I've decided to do it, and it's grown into a massive animal, of which I'm very proud.
I think that sounds a great way to sum things up, mate. So I wish you all the best of luck. I've got...
Thank you.
Great confidence. We're all going to have an amazing time. I can't wait myself. I'm looking forward to meeting all the people there. And in the past week, one of the top people I'm really looking forward to meeting and shaking hands with is you, pal. So.
Oh wow! Thank you very much. So, if you'd have said to me, allegedly, Dave, or hold a minute, I'm here. Don't. But you ruined it. You didn't load it. How can I fire the gun if you don't load it? So no, but thank you very much. I do appreciate that.
You won't know if you're shaking my hand, but you got my kudos.
Can I just say that what I'm going to do is, unless they've got breasts, I'm going to go up to everyone and say, "Are you really John?" I'm going to listen out for your voice. The thing is, though, the reason why I will know if it's you is because you got bangly knees. So I know that, I've been told. So if you look like you just got off a horse like John Wayne, then I know that I'm talking to John Savage. Sorry, was I meant to say that? Oh, God,
if the topic strays onto plumbing or lagging pipes, then that'll give it away.
Oh, is that why he buys Plumbing Weekly? He's got a fetish for plumbing. Okay, I can bring a few bits for you, John. If you get bored at night in your bedroom, I can always bring you some plumbing.
I love a compression joint.
Yeah,
especially last thing at night.
That's what I can do. If you want, I can always bring you some Boss White and hemp. Stilsons. Would you like some Stilsons, or are you okay for Stilsons?
Are you a plumber?
I'm not exactly a plumber. I work on firefighting systems, and I have to use like a screwing machine and plumbing and like. Have you ever used? Oh bloody hell! I forgot what it's called now. Loctite 55. Have you ever used Loctite 55? It's brilliant stuff. So there you go. I'm expecting now. Do you know what? I'm surprised I haven't got a knock on the door with a delivery from Loctite with a big parcel of Loctite. I mean, what's up with them? A bit slow, aren't they?
Do it on the TFR show.
Now.
You'll get some then.
Loctite 55. There we go. I'm making a note of it now.
It's basically, like you got PTFE. Yeah. Loctite 55 it turns into like string, but it's brilliant because if you need to go back on the thread, turn it back a little bit. Yeah. It allows you to do that. With PTFE, it goes to the rats. So it's awesome stuff.
You should mention that. I mean, I'm currently fitting an outside tap, and I'm looking. Is it hemp based or?
No, you don't want to use. No. If you, well, all depends. If you're gonna have your tap, I'm only going to charge you £10 for this advice. But, if you have it where it's connected to your water supply, if you use Boswell and hemp, you can get. I don't know if it's Legionnaires or whatever. You can create. If it's contaminating your water supply that you drink, that can cause you some harm. So no, you don't want to use Boswell and hemp. You have to make.
That's cool. I've got a double check valve in between the outside.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've just seen my cost. It's actually that was £12. Sorry, I was wrong when I said that.
That's okay. My reply was 15, so we'll just call it a pint when I meet you.
So I owe you £3.
Yeah. Well, a pint, call it.
So far,
the only time you use Boswell and hemp if it's non-potable, which means you don't drink it. So there you go. You can have that one. And I'm not a plumber, but I know enough about it. So, and it's
I'm
probably
not going to be drinking the outside tap stuff. Yeah, probably not this summer anyway.
But you don't want it contaminating the. As long as it doesn't contaminate your water supply.
The potable water supply, yeah. Hence the inside double check valve. But
you see what happens? I told you.
This is what happens.
Just goes off, and then he'll be tipping you up for advice, mate, on his next project.
Yeah. You'll be saying, I've got this olive and it's stuck. What do I do?
We've got one more thing to cover, and that's your next few appearances, but hopefully you're going to give us some extra updates throughout next week on TFR. I'll probably hand you to Walt for that.
Yeah, I'm working away on Tuesday night until Wednesday, but I am obviously going to have Wi-Fi. Well, I should have Wi-Fi. So as far as I'm concerned, I will, as a rule, I'm going to aim to work around you guys. So you let me know when you want me on, and I will do my best.
And am I right in thinking that we've secured an exclusive with yourself and DD after the event on Friday?
Yes, obviously I can't legislate for how much everyone's jumping on us because we don't know, if people got queries with things or they want to find something out. But yeah, we are definitely going to be spending time with Adam, and because obviously we're not going to be going to bed any time before midnight, then yeah, we will do our best, and our goal is to work with Adam to support the show because you've supported us. So yes,
sounds great. No, looks really good. We'll give it a good coverage.
Yeah. I think having you guys involved is great, and I love the fact that Adam's there because it brings a link to this show, and also at the event it's going to bring a link to the show. And I think Walt was talking about it the other day, and I think that's great. So yeah, I'm up for it because it's the right thing to do.
Adam, you bringing the family, or are you going on your own?
I'm just working up on my own, mate. I don't think that the kids in tow would be quite appropriate now, but my wife will be at home. But yeah, hopefully won't be on my own. Looking forward to, like I said, to meeting.
Oh, I don't think you're going to be on your own, that's for sure.
Yeah, should be a bit of fun.
I'm slightly envious, but not persuadable. Don't worry.
I'm looking forward to the disco afterwards.
John, if I just mentioned to you that I've got a couple of tubes of Loctite 55 for you, would that kind of swing it? I don't know.
I don't know. A couple of 100 meters of the 22 mil, maybe copper.
Can I just ask?
Grade 3.
I won't mention his name, but I've got something set up with one of the people that are helping on the team, or one person. But I've got a couple of things bubbling along that I can't say, but I will tell you. I will make sure that it's going to be put out at the event, which Adam will get it, but I will make sure that if you don't hear it through Adam because he didn't know, I'll make sure you're told. But I've just got a couple of things, just some silliness lined up that I can't help myself. It's just my middle name, really.
I get that impression about you there, Gary, that you just can't help yourself sometimes.
No, but
I look forward to it.
But I've spoken to a few people about what I'm going to do, and they just thought it was funny. So yeah, I just thing is, I've got a very serious head, but at the same time, I'm very I like to be silly at the same time because you only live once, don't you? Really, you only.
I can understand. It's like the earlier half of this, we were talking about finances and stuff, and it's quite clear that, you know, the finances are right at the tip of your brain, because literally you if if a number of people turn up, you could be stuffed financially, or, you know, this whole thing is a risk. But it's not the finance that you're interested in. It's from what I can tell, it's breaking even would be nice, which is probably why finance is at the start of the prominence of your head. But you know, this is nothing to do with finance with you, is it? It really is a passion.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you're right. The money is a means to an end from the point of view of if it's successful, then it means that, one, you haven't lost any money, and two, it was deemed as a success. So let's look at a retard. His thing about the convention is going to be a flop for basically his ignorance of the situation, which I love the fact that he's totally got it wrong, and I think it's funny as. But the thing is, if you have, sorry.
No, nothing. Keep going, mate.
Oh, sorry, I heard a noise. Let's say that, for instance, we had 100 there on the Saturday. Now, let's look at what that would give me. So we got 100 people, which doesn't look quite good on camera. That's point one. Point two, you've only got 100 potential people that would buy the merchandise, and some of it is we're hoping that the merchandise is not only bought, but also what do we do with this merchandise if it doesn't get sold? Secondly, we're only going to get a little bit of revenue from the 100. And it's not because we're trying to make money, it's trying to break even, or get close to breaking even, which we're miles away if we only had 100 people there. So the hotel are saying we have to guarantee them 100 at £29 per person. So I get kicked on three fronts. Whereas if you had 180 people there, there's another 80 people that are potential buyers for the merchandise. It looks another 80 people on camera, and you've also got another 80 lots worth of revenue to help pay for the 200 that you have to fund. So everything counts, basically, good or bad, everything counts. So the Friday, one thing that Dee Dee didn't mention, but this is something I've negotiated with the hotel, is because the type of numbers that we're looking at, is I've actually said to the hotel, okay, I want to negotiate with you an amount of numbers, but what I'd like is 100 drinks vouchers for the Friday night so we can give out to our people. So I've had to take a punt on what that was going to be, and I've had to make a decision. But what I'm trying to do is add more value, because to be fair to the people, the Friday night isn't a major part of the weekend. It's a nice part of the weekend. It's a start, but it isn't the real major launch is Saturday morning. But what I'm trying to do, I'm still trying to negotiate with the hotel, which they've agreed, to try and get something slightly more for the people that are there, which is, in this case, a drink. So it's not a short and all that, or cocktail. It's either a beer or a small wine or whatever, but it's to give the people a little bit more, and that's what I'm about. So to answer your question, though, John, it isn't about the money, but if you make the money, not only have you broken even or get close to breaking even, but also everyone out there is going to rip me to bits. Oh yeah, that was a failure. You only got so many people turn up. They don't care if I have too many there. Oh, he's made a killing. If I don't have enough, oh, that was a flop. I will always get ridiculed by somebody. All I can do is do my best to do my best job. And if every single person there says, wow, what an event, I don't really care what anyone else. The keyboard warriors can get stuffed, really.
That's it. I'm waiting to see their conference. I'm waiting to see the coverage on what they do. I'd like to see their gyroscope experiments. I'd like to see their moonlight experiments. I'd like to see everything that they just poo-poo and throw out, bullshit to them.
Two things on that job. The gyro is going to be part of the workshop for Rob Durham. I don't know if you know Rob, and allegedly Dave. They're going to do that between them.
Is
and
Rob
the second part
going to be there?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! Excellent.
He's there the whole weekend. So we'll see you as well, will we? Or are you Rob Durham, really? Actually, do you know what, John? If you come, I will give you from me a coin. There you go.
£5. Give me £5 if I turn up.
But it's £5 back. But you do obviously need to keep that quiet from Adam, because obviously we don't want him to start trying to renegotiate.
I'll sell it to Adam.
John,
don't worry.
I'll give you an
can't hear us.
IOU for $5,000 if you get that coin.
I'm going to ask you a serious question now, John. How can you not turn up at the event? I can't believe that you're so into the Flat Earth and you're not going to be there. I'd love to know the reasons for it, and I know that you wouldn't be able to tell me now online. But what is it? Is it that your nose is chunky or something? You know, you've got big ears or something.
We'll save that for an offline chat then.
Okay. So I'm just curious. I mean, you've got me. You out of all of you, you're the one who's intriguing because of the fact you're so incognito. So.
Hey,
That's
Gary.
a night in itself, Gary.
That's where it stabs me in the back, doesn't it? Trying to be incognito and end up being non-cognito. Yeah.
Super cognito. Hey, Gary, there was a message in chat I saw from Ann Stewart, who says she's listening to, you're holding a convention there in Birmingham, and she's about 45 minutes outside. She's been interested in the Flat Earth for about the past 6 or 8 months, and she's always said she would like to attend a convention. So, Ann, if you're still listening, now is the time to get your tickets. Don't put it off till next week. The tickets may not be there. Seats are filling fast, so make sure you get online and get your tickets now, Ann, because you may miss this year if you don't act fast. So I thought that was pretty cool for Ann Stewart to post that up there in the chat.
Yeah, what was her name again? Sorry, her first name?
Her name is Ann, A-N-N-E.
I will look out for her, but that's awesome. Thank you.
I just saw it a while back. I didn't want to miss it.
And I'll just tell Anne with my non-commissioned sales pitch, which we could probably discuss again off air, Gary. But she's asked for details on that. You can go to flatearthconventionuk.co.uk.
Yeah.
You can see the prices. You can get all weekend. Is what, 128? The Saturday and Sunday 107. Or of course, there's the webinar at £20.
Yeah, the actual front row has sold out, even though Flat Earth Retard reckons it hasn't. But again, we haven't just we've went to the website, web team. They were just literally a waste of time to try and get it to update, and they want to charge. We just thought, sod it, we'll leave it as it is. But there's no front row. And the other thing is, if people go onto the email address and they talk to us, then what we actually say to them, and it's only to save money, is if they pay me direct, it means in that I don't have to pay PayPay fees. But if they want to have through PayPal because they feel happier with that, then they do it through PayPal. But as an example, £128 cost me £4.55, which is dead money, really. So I'd rather put that money in to pay for the event, not pay the system, which is basically PayPal. Which is. And
I dropped a link to the convention there, to the chat for everybody. So there you go, Ann. So go check it out and get ready to go.
And she gets free fluoride.
That's it.
I'm sorry, fluoride free.
Right. There's a big difference in that order.
You know when I said to you I was going to make some mistakes? Well, I've started tonight.
and a little vial of lithium too.
And that puts it in context when you say it like that.
God damn.
What the fuck was that?
Sorry, that was my girlfriend bringing me dinner down.
Come on with an American accent, I think.
Yeah.
But no, it's awesome, guys, and thanks very much for everything you're doing for us, because it's a two-way thing, isn't it? We're trying to help Flat Earth along. You're trying to help Flat Earth, and you're supporting what you deem as being a worthy event, which I would have to concur because I'm actually a part of it. And as you've probably realised, that Dee Dee is an amazing girl, and Adam, as when you meet her and you see her getting stuck in, and what you got to bear in mind, guys, is 9 months ago she would actually be worried about being on cam to me, where we were just getting to know each other, and she was like nervous even then. So she has come such a long way.
I think
as I've said so far, that your fruits will be judged, and you've got a week to do it, and.
It's amazing you say that. Sounds like, wow.
I can't wait because I've got great vibes about this.
I must admit, I will have to, I have to reiterate what I said earlier about that when I said I'm proud. I cannot sell that enough. I am so happy with where we are with everything, because some of the trials and tribulations, which have been horrendous, some of them, even to the point that I was negotiating with a hotel up to 3 days ago about the amount of hotel rooms I need and who's having breakfast, and they said, well, you guaranteed these numbers, and now you're trying to change it to the. It's horrendous. The amount of work. If people could see the amount of emails, the amount of work, they would. Even you guys that can say, yeah, we appreciate what you've. Honestly, you just have no idea. The same way I do not have an idea of what it's taken you to put your show together and your website, which looks really good, and what you do, I can't imagine half of the work that you guys do, and that's what it is. And that's why it's disappointing that when I first set up the convention, I honestly thought that I was going to get attacked by a load of Globers. What I didn't realise is I was going to get attacked by flat earthers who are ignorant and stupid and naive, and they just went out of their way to attack, and that's the bit that really shocks me.
Yeah, you're going to get attacks from all sides. I mean, I used to be a project manager for quite a big company on sort of million pound deals and stuff. So
I've got your pen here, John. What's the name of the company? Sorry.
yeah, I'll tell you later. But I can understand it. It's a full-time job. It is literally a full-time job. I can imagine you're putting in 8+ hours a day and the rest, and it's emails to contractors, to suppliers, to it's meetings, negotiations, and it's just incredible. Yeah, I can fully understand where you're coming from.
I'd agree with you, John. I think it's very strange behaviour when you sit here and, as you said, you judge stuff by its fruits, not by presupposition before an event, and before anything or any numbers, and you make accusations without any proof. And it's, as we alluded to earlier, how the system responds to the leak of flat Earth, and I would suggest that the majority of the negative comment is system response. Either that, or they're people that are pretending to have awoken a little bit and sadly have a long way to go, because it seems very juvenile and spiteful and jealous, a lot of the behaviour.
Well, you're going to get it. You're going to get you're going to get the haters. I mean, if it's not sponsored or paid for or whatever, Soros backed, it's jumping on the bandwagon of cognitive dissonance that they just can't deal with. But yeah, sorry, Gary.
I want to say, I had one guy. You've probably heard of Mikey Short, have you? Have any of you heard of Mikey Short?
I don't think so. It doesn't sound familiar.
Nope.
Okay, well, he went out of his way about 8 months ago to attack everything, and basically, if you didn't do what he did, then he felt that you were just literally part of the system and you were the problem, whatever. And I hate to give out his name from the point of view. I don't want to give him any kudos because he doesn't deserve it, and he has disappeared off the face of the earth, as far as I'm concerned. Which is actually quite a funny term, really, if you think about our subject matter. But he basically said to me, this convention is not going to go ahead. Okay, I don't see where you're getting that from, you idiot. And other people, like one guy actually said to me, you're clearly scamming people. So I said, can I speak to you? And he said, yes. I rang him, and he said, right, I'm going to come down to you with my solicitor. I went, okay. So you're going to come down and check out my figures. I think you really need an accountant, actually. But if you want to bring your solicitor, and then I contacted him about a month later. I said, well, I'm ready. You come. You tell me when you're coming, and I'll put the kettle on.
I mean, respectfully, the numbers you're talking about aren't in the realms of any kind of scam. You've had to hire a hotel in the centre of Birmingham. You're charging 100-odd quid for the weekend. It's fanciful, and it's either fanciful, malicious, or wholly ignorant for that kind of criticism, in my opinion.
Well, if I can just say this to you now, let's say Anne decides to buy herself a ticket when it was early bird, and early bird was £97. The cost of that ticket for the hotel alone forget the Friday because that cost me a different amount of money. But for the Saturday and Sunday, it cost me £58. So it's £29 per day for a delegate rate. So that £58 then leaves me, what's that, 39? Now that 39, I've got to get Landucci. I've got to get Mike Cavanaugh from across the water, one further than the other. Website, live streaming, PayPal. I've got to put the speakers up because if the speaker's got a choice of actually being at home and paying nothing or coming out and it's going to cost them money, a lot of people are going to think, I'll stay at home, thanks. I don't want to spend my weekend spending money. So I've had to do that out of the rest of the money. If I'd have done this properly, if I'd have really realised about the cost of PayPal and everything else and realised everything, I would have been charging probably, I'm only going to give it an arbitrary figure here, but let's say 12% on top of whatever has been charged, another 12%, because I don't think 10% would have covered it. And that is why.
That again, mate, lends to your honesty. Do you know what I mean? The money you're talking is describing the additional cost, and I think that does it all.
Yeah, but in the end, and it's a tricky one because I really want people to buy the merchandise because one, we want them to be, I want that. I want to take that lighter home. I want to take this home and whatever. But it's just to try and take some of the sting out of the event. But we don't want to say to people almost like pleading poverty, oh, please buy the merchandise because if you don't, that comes across as shit. It comes across as crass.
Other than ridiculously expensive coins, what have you got?
We have like little spirit levels, cigarette lighters. We've got little key rings. Some people can bring T-shirts. We've got the coins, as you know. We just basically got a little bit of everything really to give people choice. A little compasses and stuff like that. Things that you're not necessarily going to go and buy by ordering online, but you may buy it if it's there. That sort of idea.
Sweet. I've got some bits for my kids already. They'll love that. They'll love some some of those bits.
The only thing is, though, Adam, I really feel though that when you spend 5,000 on a coin, I'd probably have to give you a few bits because I'd feel really bad. What do you think, guys? Do you think that's fair?
I think whatever price is
I
agreed,
think that's
I'm
fair.
happy to take freebies. I'm more than happy.
Adam, can you pick me up a £3 pin, please?
No worries.
Oh yeah, there's pins as well. Yeah, but no, it's basically the merchandise is twofold. The main goal was just to give people choice. It then became, well, actually, it may just redress a little bit of the financial discrepancy, really. And it's a horrible thing to say. It's like I've been attacked that truth is free, and I will not say the word, but I'll spell it out. But I was actually called from an Australian flat earther, a CUNT, for charging. Now, bear in mind that the hotel cost is, the whole cost is, I'm guessing, is going to be about 22,000. It won't be as little as 21, but it probably won't be as high as 24. So probably 21 to 23. And I was called a CUNT because I was charging. So I'm thinking, so it's all right then for me to pay out that money. It's all right for me to do £22,000 out of pocket put on the event. And then they say, yeah, but truth is free. But is it? Is it really free?
Gary, truth is free, but a hotel in the middle of Birmingham with food and parking and everything else is not free. You may have to wait a couple of days for the free truth.
Yeah. But also, and this is the bit though, John, that I didn't want to say this because I know that this is going to tip the balance for you. And even though you won't say now that you're coming, but I know you will, biscuits as well. Yeah,
biscuits.
Yeah.
They sold him.
Now, what pops into my mind is Mark Sargent. Why is that? Biscuits, cookies, or something he had sent to him. I don't know.
Did he? I don't know.
I don't know either. But I'll see you there. Not.
Well, I must admit, John, I will not see you there.
Yeah. You won't see it.
I've told you already. I'm the oddball. Anyone listening to this should be going there. They should be meeting flat earthers. They should be, getting together, socializing, realizing they're not insane. It's just not my scene.
No, that's fair enough. Even though I think you would enjoy it.
I would.
If I could click my heels together, I would enjoy it, yes.
Click away.
Get me some ruby slippers.
Is it a serious question? Is there anything that would make you think, okay, I need to be there? You might not say what it is, but is there something?
No, it's just not my scene.
Okay, then what is your scene?
If you got
Exactly
a
what
speaker
we're doing
on
now.
central heating systems, it'd be over there, I reckon.
Yeah, if it was a plumbing debate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can imagine it. If on Sunday afternoon we were gonna debate a load of plumbers. We had Mike Cavanaugh and allegedly Dave talking to the guys about U-bends and stuff like that. John would be there.
Hemp and White versus who it was.
Yep, I'll be there. Virtually. Virtually. It's just I'm an IT professional, ex-retired, and so it's a case of knowing that my online personality is separate from my offline personality, and never the twain shall meet.
Yeah, I understand.
And on that note, I must say thank you so much for joining us, and I've got to do a runner, and I look forward to catching up with you next Friday, maybe.
Yeah, are we doing
Live.
something in? Are we doing something in between as well on Tuesday? Is it Tuesday?
Tuesday,
I
correct.
think, yeah, Josh and Walt are doing
Absolutely.
Tuesdays and Fridays, and hopefully we'll have an after, which I imagine the weight on your shoulders will be unbelievably lighter when we do an after exclusive on Friday night. That would be great.
Well, bearing in mind that's only a third. It's not even a third, is it? Because the Saturday is 12 hours minus breaks, and the Sunday is about 8 hours minus breaks. So we'd only have been like touching the surface by the Friday night. But it's the start, and we would actually get a flavour for how it's going, and the mood. So yeah, it's a good start. But I do think that maybe host like the fun on Tuesday, that would be a good time, or maybe doing like this again on the Friday afterwards, because it would be good to do like a proper post catch up.
I think that would be excellent.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I think we'll go ahead and call it. We usually do a 3-hour show.
Oh wow, it is 3 hours.
3 hours already.
Yeah, it surely has. I actually did want to stay just a little bit longer. You had mentioned about opening the phone lines, and before we even had a chance, I got in contact from a little blast from our past, so I wanted to have a little chat with him before we actually signed off and went off the air. But I figured we could end like the big main show, and we'll just end it with a little bit of fringiness with our good friend and buddy Hacksaw.
Oh, Hacksaw.
Yeah, we haven't talked to Hacksaw in months.
Oh God, this could go on for hours.
Well,
that's what I was just thinking.
Hacksaw,
I've already told him.
I love you.
I already told him that I do have plans tonight. My buddy Smokey is playing, and I wanted to go hear he and his nephew play. So I will be trying to get out of here at some point. But I
can't stay too much longer myself.
I couldn't resist the opportunity to at least catch up and say hi.
Nice.
Absolutely. Haven't heard from Hacksaw for a long time. Is he on then?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't exactly sure how best to add him. I just didn't want to cause any more consternation around here. I just wanted to make sure that there was notice, and anybody that wanted to maybe bail out would have the opportunity. I know Hacksaw is very opinionated, and sometimes some people don't necessarily take too kindly to that. So if you're not willing to hear things that you may not like, then sometimes Hacksaw is not the best person to have on. But I always love a good conversation with him, regardless of how it is that I feel. So hopefully Hacksaw will be around here shortly. I know he is around here. I'll just give him a ring now. I know he's not listening.
No, this
but
is a treat. I've been missing Hacksaw.
Before he joins us, then one last plug. So I promised a set of plugs beginning to end. So you can still get tickets at flatearthconventionuk.co.uk. It's 128 for the full week, full combi pack. 107 for Saturday and Sunday, and the webinar is £20. Single days are 26, 60, and 50 on the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday respectively. Not much to go, so get out there, and looking forward to meeting you guys.
Yep, I wish it the best of luck, and I look forward to the autopsy afterwards. Absolutely. And saying that,
you could always buy a live streaming ticket.
See,
that's right.
That was
Streaming
more your
ticket.
speed. That was
You
more
can
your
be
style.
there whether you can get there or not.
Thank you guys. I do appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on,
Thank you, Gary.
And we will talk to you on Tuesday, but I just want to make sure that you, if we don't get a chance for whatever reason to talk to Dee Dee, thank her again for popping on. I know you guys are busy and have big plans there now, but I hope everything goes super smoothly and the great turnout, and we're going to do our absolute best to make sure we sell those tickets out between now and then.